Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody? I'm excited when I get on and there's video and there's audio and everything's working. All right. Did a video earlier. I thought there was problems with it. Didn't want to have any issues, so I deleted it, and I'm just going to review most of it. So let's get to the game. Connecticut 6.5. I think it's 144 to Purdue. And I think Purdue, I think the big men will fight each other. I think the game's under. And then it's just a matter of thinking Connecticut has the better players if the centers cancel each other out. There could be foul trouble, which would make the under even stronger because then the star players are not playing and the lesser ones would, so they're not going to score as much. Just a second. So that's my prediction for tonight. Very small on Connecticut and much larger on the under. But I think the under's the play. Purdue's been keeping teams down to 50 points. And I think they'll keep Connecticut lower than normal. And it's the championship. They'll be choking. So let's go Connecticut. Let's go under, but more on the under. Baseball. Starting to get into it. I know it's too early. It's like week 2 of the NFL. Who the hell knows? You're not going to know how Caleb's going to look. You're not going to know about, Penix and Daniels and Bo Nix. You're not going to know these. We already know that McCarthy stinks and Drake May stinks. So if Drake May goes to Washington, it's funny, he backed up Thurston Howell III, who Washington drafted, who sucks. And now are they going to take another North Carolina quarterback who sucks? At what point do you realize the North Carolina quarterbacks are like the Ohio State quarterbacks? They aren't good. All right, so we're still early in it. So my predictions were take the Dodgers. The big play was Atlanta under 10 and Arizona. And let's see, they've already started. Atlanta's 4-0 in the fourth. Hard to play them under 10 now, but that was the big play. Minnie's 2-1 over the Dodgers, and that is in the fourth inning. And Arizona, okay, so Arizona we can do. Arizona, Zach Gaylor, 2-0 with an 0.82 ERA against Kyle Freeland, 0-2 with a 27 ERA. So jump on Arizona there. And then we can go under on the San Diego Cub game. How about that? So you get those two. But those were the three initially were the Dodgers, Atlanta under 10. And we'll start getting in. Let's see. Cleveland beat Chicago 7-0. Interesting game. See, Tristan McKenzie 1-1 with a 4 ERA. And Tanner Banks 0-1 with a 2.08 ERA. A pretty low scoring game, and that's what I thought. Yankees won 7-0. Nelson Cortez 1-1 with a 3.50. Beat Jesus Luzardo 0-2 with a 7.20. But the ERA is factored in with him giving up some of the 7 runs. So that is baseball. Football again. We have to digest the draft and how it affects the team. So, like if Caleb goes to the Bears, we have to then watch that. I think he's trouble. I think he's too immature from what I'm hearing. Um, I don't know. He cries at the games and does a few other things. Caleb's big trouble. Penix will be the best. Daniels will be right up there. Bo Nix, those three, and Hartman. Notre Dame wanted to run the ball too much. The only negative I heard of him is his hands are too small, and when he gets in there, he fumbles. Really, he throws 80 touchdown passes at Wake Forest. I don't know about that. I don't think he had too many fumbles at Notre Dame. That's easily cured. All right, so that's baseball. I was a little more detailed earlier. I apologize, but basically, San Diego, Javier, the Cubbies, Javier Assad 1-0 with an O against UW 0-0 with a 2-3-0. So it should be a low scoring. The Redskins and the 49ers, we got Trevor Williams 1-0 with a 3.88 against Blake Snell. Blake Snell hasn't pitched at all this year. So, see, I'd rather see a did not pitch than a 0-0-0 because this is misleading. You think, oh, Blake Snell hasn't given up a run. No, he hasn't pitched. Should be has not pitched. Trevor Williams 1-0 with a 3.38. It's a big line on that. Blake Snell, okay, has he been injured? Suspended, whatever it is, but too early to tell with him. Basketball starts at 9:20 on TBS. I don't get TBS because it asks for my internet provider, which is Spectrum, and I can't get it on Spectrum. Who the hell puts the NCAA finals and you don't put it on CBS? What are you, out of your mind? And I don't even think I could buy TBS. So I guess I'll just watch it like I did yesterday. I'll watch it on YouTube in 10 minutes. So I don't need to watch the finals. I don't even know where I'd go. It's on at 9:20. It'll be over at midnight. Where am I going to go? You're going to go to a restaurant? They'll be closed at 10. Really, I don't know who makes these decisions, but they're not too intelligent. Okay, let's go to my gold. Gold 23.39. It's been since about 2 o'clock. It's been right around 23.40 to 23.38. It's currently at 23.39, up 11. Silver 27.83, up 66. Now I'm going to show you something that, of course, you'll understand the derivative market. This is what it looks like. So you can see it's fine it's 22.45 at 6 o'clock, and then about 6:15 in the morning, you get the first spike down to 23.28. Then it goes back to 23.32, and then look at the 10 o'clock down to 23.20, and then at noon, and it starts picking up back to 23.32, and then all the way up to 23.40, and then it hangs out there. So we're up 11, which is fine. I think it ends now, but I think it starts at midnight. And I think the Asians are the ones also doing the derivatives. There's Asia, London, and New York, but I don't think I thought the 10 o'clock was gone, and now the 10 o'clock's back. So it's weird how we think it's on its back. They don't have gold to sell. So they knock it down to 23.20, and then everybody's buying it. So it's like me at the coin store. If I get there at like 10 minutes to 10, I let it run down, and then it drops. And then at 10:30, I'm like, okay, now I'll buy it, as they just dropped $20 a point. But they're catching on to that. But anyway, so here's the trend of gold, right? So you see that 6 o'clock drop, the 10 o'clock drop. Then you see the 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock surge. So let's go to silver. And it's the same, pretty much the same. It dropped at like 6:30 to about 8. Went from 27.93 to 27.61. Then sharply up to 27.91, and then the 10 o'clock dropped down to 27.28. This lost 60 cents at 10 o'clock, But then look what happens. At 10:15, it's all the way back to 27.71, and then it gets back to 27.93, and now it's at 27.85. So you can see it's a derivative. It's the same 6:30 pattern, 10 o'clock pattern, and then back up right after 10. So it's really strange what they do. And again, so what Mark McGuire says is these stair steps. So what are the stair steps? The stair steps are, okay, now it's, gold's 23.40. And the stair steps that'll lock it in, right? Now the new derivative floor will be 23.40. Like here, it was 23.20, which is what happened on Friday. It ended 23. Well, it ended at 23.28, right? And it's up $12 today to 23.40. So we will see 23.40. We should get to 24 by Wednesday, and then we should get to 25 by Friday. But again, it's these bullshit paper derivatives, not the sell. So when I tell you don't profit take, these aren't profit taking. These are on purpose, the paper derivatives by the banks on purpose trying to drive the price down. And then it just keeps going up because there's too much demand for it. Demand's not going anywhere. The dollar's still worthless. People are aware of that. And that's what I'm saying. You can't profit take. This is not a stock. This is not me playing poker or blackjack or baccarat at the casino and I get up a lot and I profit take. This is a totally different animal. This is this going out. And so you get out of it and buy gold. And it's not profit taking. Believe me, I'm the one who says quit a winner and profit take and everything else. This is not a profit take scenario. This is something different. This is money. And if you look around, the only game in town is gold and silver. There is no other place to put your dollars. You can't really put it in you can't really put it, Jesus. You can't really put it in anything else. You can't put it in stocks or bonds. You can't put it in the banks. The whole Ponzi scheme of the banks and Wall Street, you can't go there. So you don't want to play in those Ponzi schemes. So you're in gold. Now we still have a little bit of bullshit in gold with these derivatives, but you can see it is letting them go up. It still went up. It's up $13 now. So it's still allowing it to go at somewhat of the market. It's getting more physical as the demand for the gold is high. So they're doing their best, but you can see it's not working. And then eventually they're going to stop and just get into Bitcoin and do the derivatives there because this, what are you going to do? It hits 10 grand. They're still going to do these shorts and, because they need to come up with the gold. And from what I heard, I think it was Alligator on Saturday when I listened to it after class, I think it's all gone. We know there's 250,000 tons, and we know how much China has, 60,000, and Russia has 30,000. India, I don't know what they got. I'm talking tons. And all the central banks are buying tons. But I'm under the belief that the whole 250,000 tons is already gone. There's nothing out there. It's already gone. I think Egon said we got 3,000 new tons that are come out of the ground each year, and that's it. So I don't think there's the 250,000 tons are available. I think they're gone. I think what they did, like the U.S. has no gold. It's 8,000 tons. It's already like IOU'd out to the Fed, who then IOUs it out to China. So China has the gold. The Fed's not getting it back, or whoever. No, I think it's the bullion bank. So the Fort Knox, I guess, is the Fed, gave it to the bullion bank, let's say J.P. Morgan, and they sold it to China. Well, they're not getting it back. So they might still think they have 8,000 tons, but they don't have real gold. So as Egon says, he doesn't believe there's any gold in Fort Knox. And so I believe that the whole 250,000 tons is already out. It's already bought. And that's why whatever's on COMEX, these central banks keep buying it up because there's nowhere to go. I mean, it's where are you going to find it? So silver's just about running out. That's why silver's kicking up. And it's confusing. Gold goes up today $12. Silver 70 cents. That's a little bit ridiculous. Now, what they're saying is, from what I gather, well, silver will run more, is silver will start going up a few dollars a day instead of 70 cents. But you can see these derivatives, they're still trying to lower the price, and then there's just too much buying. And again, I don't know why anybody goes to COMEX. Isn't there a place that you can buy the gold? Like the mines, why would they go to COMEX? They're losing so much money, the mines. It must be a payoff or something, or the mafia, because they, if I'm a gold mine, I'm not selling it. Well, it's like the guy at the store asked me for it, and I said, I'm not selling it to you at $2,000. I said, at $20,000, I'll sell you my gold, but not at $2,000. So it must be something with the miners. Like, are they that stupid that they're taking $2,300 for their ounce of gold instead of charging $10,000 and saying, screw you, COMEX? So I don't really understand what they're doing with COMEX. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So I'm thinking that gold, it's 2,400 by Wednesday, even if it does another $15, $20 day tomorrow. I don't know how many times they're going to do this 10 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock drop. If it keeps getting bought up, they've got to be losing their ass in it, because they're saying we're shorting it. We're thinking gold's going to go down to 23.10, and then it goes, now it's 23.40. They got to be losing their ass. Derivatives, you lose. I mean, before it was all like a gated thing, but now you lose if you're in a derivative and you're saying, I'm shorting it, I want it to go down, and then it doesn't go down. So we will see. Nothing new with BRICS. We're still looking at May 14th, and that should be the day it goes. Let's see. So there's this video I want to show you. So I saw this on Google. Large portion of inflation has zero to do with the Fed, author says. This author her name is Nomi Prinz, and she's supposedly some economist, but she's got a PhD, so I'm pretty sure she's Keynesian. And she made a comment. She made a comment like the large portion of inflation has zero to do with the Fed. And in my notes, fiduciary banks cause inflation and increase the money supply, not the fiat or the Fed. I don't know what she's talking about. Large portion of inflation has zero to do with the Fed. None of it has to do with the Fed. Inflation's caused by the money printing of the banks, which is JP Morgan and Wells Fargo and Bank of America and Goldman Sachs. They're the ones who print the money for these loans and print the money for bailouts and print the money. I don't know if the Fed even prints money. I think they might do the T-bills. nobody wants. So I start wondering, here, this lady with a PhD, and she doesn't know what she's talking about. Her background is she worked at like these investment banks on Wall Street. So I'm rolling my eyes. And she said, "Oh, they don't care about that." It was like attack on Wall Street. They don't care about the customer. They only care about themselves, and they treat the customers bad, and they treat the other people bad, and they want to print money so they can make money and sell things and all that crap. Geez, we didn't know that. So I'm wondering, are you a Keynesian or you're an Austrian? I think you're a Keynesian because you got a PhD and you don't even know what inflation is. So then I'm listening to the video, and about halfway through, she goes and says, "Well, the inflation, the CPI is up, and there's wage inflation and price inflation." And as soon as I heard that, I said Keynesian, because we know inflation's printing, it's increasing the money supply. That's it. You printed money, that's inflation. You inflated it to zero. So this is my point. Here's a girl, Nomi Prince, worked for Wall Street. Of course she's a Keynesian, right? So my point is, who do you trust, right? Do you trust? I have never heard of this Nomi Prince. Do I trust her? I don't know. When I start listening to her and she says inflation is due to the prices, I immediately turn off and go, "No, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Why waste my time?" So that's how you have to get to, is just because you hear something, "Oh, Caleb's the greatest quarterback ever." Well, do you believe it? I'd say no. I'd say Penix and Daniels are better, and probably Bo Nix. They're all probably better than him, but we'll see. But anybody that says Caleb's the best, you got to be out of your mind. There's no way he's the best. He's not even close. I mean, he cries if they lose. That's a real man, so they're going to be in trouble because he ain't going to win a lot of games on the Bears. Now with that coaching staff. And he's never played before, right? In the NFL, and this isn't the Oklahoma offense. He'll start scrambling around, and now I think they see what they do to Jalen Hurts, and they see what they do to Lamar. They're going to do the same thing here. They're just going to blitz him and don't let him out of the pocket and pick him. He'll have 25 interceptions next year. He'll be he'll be like the Steve Young on Carolina. That's my point. So anyway, the point is to listen to, if you don't know who you're listening to, find out. But you need to know, I understand all this. So as soon as I hear prices going up as inflation, and the inflation has zero to do with the Fed, it's a large portion of inflation has zero to do with the Fed. So she's saying the interest rates. The Fed has zero to do with inflation. It's the money printing by the banks that they're the ones who print the money. They're the ones who have printed 21 trillion, and they're the ones who have got 30 trillion outside the U.S. in this little middleman game of Swiss to U.S. to Germany to euros. So just wanted to, I was wondering about this, and so it's a good lesson. Just be careful with what you see, right? Okay, let's go to. So I found John Stossel, but I don't know how strong he is. Okay, here's the money hole American debt crisis. It's 7 years ago. This guy was on before. Here's one 13 days ago. 10 months ago. Okay, so this one is 7 years ago.
And Now, reporting from the debt clock in New York City, John Stossel.
Our government keeps spending. You know, we're already $14.5 trillion in debt. But you could say, so what? Look around. America's doing
14 and a half. That was 7 years ago. We've more than doubled. We've doubled it in a half. We went up 150% in 7 years. I mean, this is why it can't really go on. You wait another 7 years to be at 80. You can't afford the debt now. You can't pay it. Right. So that's really the problem. Okay. So again, this is 7 years ago. And
pretty well. What's the worst that could happen? Well, this could happen. These violent protests broke out once Greece was so deep in debt that Greece had trouble borrowing more money.
The interest rate for Greece is 23%.
Veronique Derougy is an economist with the Mercatus Center. She says street riots are just the most visible consequence of a debt crisis. Greece goes on. They still serving the baklava.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Greece goes on. If you want to borrow money for a house, for a car, for anything, the interest rates that you face will be dramatically high.
Greece spent so much that by last year they owed more money than their entire economy produced. No wonder they're in trouble. We won't reach that level of debt until, well, oops, pretty soon. We're on a clear track to a Greek-type crisis.
The government cannot escape their law of gravity. When there's no more money, there's just no more money.
Well, the federal government can escape. The federal government can print money.
The federal government can print money up to a certain point.
Government has been printing lots of money. Don't you wish you could do this? Of course, if we do it, they put us in jail. But governments are allowed to print money. Trouble is, when they do,
that leads to inflation.
Because the more dollars you print, the less each one is worth. That happened in...
We've heard that before here, haven't we? I said it first. So how the MMTs get it wrong and think you can just print money to pay the debt and there's no problem. Here, this is a Greek economist saying you can't, you run out of money and then you keep printing it. And the more you print, the less they're worth. So it ends up being worth zero. They get it. And that's what I wanted to show you. We'll go through. It's 9 minutes. We'll go through. But you can see what he's saying. So what? We have that. And ours is 150%. That was done 7 years ago, figuring to be 134. It's 150. So in other words, we have more debt than we make, and most of our money is bullshit because it's government spending. It's not us earning and spending. It's not Target earning all this money and Kroger's and everything. It's the government spending all this money on probably defense and everything. So it makes the GDP look much higher than it really is. We want the real GDP not to be from the government, to be from us. So that's the biggest point. All right.
Zimbabwe recently. It took 25 million local dollars to equal $1 American dollar. You had to carry armfuls of cash to go shopping.
You've saved money supposedly for your old age to be able to enjoy life or to be able to leave money for your children. Well, that money is going to be worth almost nothing.
So printing all this extra money is bad. What are the other options? Well, the government can raise your taxes or cut its spending. Tough choices. Politicians are supposed to make these choices. So what did President Obama do? He appointed a commission.
I'm asking them to produce clear recommendations on how to cover the costs of all federal programs by 2015.
They recommended $1 trillion in tax increases and $3 trillion in spending cuts. But the president didn't take those recommendations. That bothered even the liberal media.
The total debt is $7.2 trillion on top of the $14 trillion we already have. How can you say that we're living within our means?
I'm not suggesting we don't have to do more.
In your fiscal commission, you had a majority consensus to do all this. It's now been shelved.
The notion that it's been shelved, I think, is incorrect.
What was the point of the fiscal commission?
It still provides a framework for a conversation.
Then,
our debt as a share of the economy is already too high. but look at where it's going.
A Republican budget chairman actually came out with a serious plan, whereupon the president responded with his own plan.
Today, I'm proposing a more balanced approach.
I don't blame the vice president for falling
Yeah,
asleep during
Biden's
his
sleeping
boss's
already.
speech. It was more of the same. Obama said he'd eliminate waste and lower the cost of health care, but he proposed no specific cuts. And he said he'd raise taxes on the rich.
Millionaires and billionaires. That's who needs to pay less taxes?
Maybe not, but even if the president took every penny that millionaires and billionaires make, it still wouldn't be enough to cover the deficit.
The gap between revenue and spending is so big that no level of revenue could cover that gap.
The problem is spending. It's been increasing so fast, revenue can't keep up. Hence the talk about cuts.
We've taken a scalpel to the discretionary budget rather than a machete.
A scalpel? But a little scalpel won't make cuts big enough to keep us from falling into bankruptcy. We need something like this. We need to make bigger cuts or people will stop lending us money and we'll be as broke as Greece. But I understand why politicians are reluctant to make big cuts. Chicken! Look what happens when they try. About 20 years ago, the Democratic chair of the Ways and Means Committee was hounded by seniors for asking them to make small Medicare copays. They chased him and surrounded his car. The chairman fled to a gas station where he found his driver and made his getaway. His Medicare reform was quickly repealed, and for the next 25 years, most politicians ducked the issue until Congressman Ryan's proposal.
Doing it this way actually makes Medicare solvent.
Congressman Ryan's been booed too in his own district. Democrats say his Medicare plan is why this woman won a special congressional election recently, because she promised that she would
not decimate Medicare.
After she won, her supporters chanted.
Yes, we are all future seniors, that's for sure.
The message politicians get is, don't touch our handouts, especially Medicare. In fact, don't cut anything. Give us more stuff.
Roads, bridges.
Transportation funding.
We're all citizen lobbyists.
Citizen lobbyists descend on Washington to try to get more.
More money for transit.
Funding for housing counselors.
We went to D.C. during the most recent budget session to try to find out where the budget only grows.
I'm attending a number of hearings. Most of them are appropriations related.
You have all these lobbyists who are there all the time so they can be close to the power that might hand them some goods in form of tax breaks or whatever it is the government is willing to give away.
We're just agents, that's all we are.
The American Forest Foundation,
Neighborhood Assistance Office,
National Urban League.
They all want the same thing.
We need additional funding.
There simply isn't enough money.
And so many lobbyists want the money that some pay bike messengers to stand in line for them.
I wait in line till they get here and then they take over and I leave.
After all, their employers have great needs. These insurance company lobbyists want more government guaranteed flood insurance.
And here's our congresswoman right now that had breakfast with us this morning. We certainly appreciate it.
Wow, look at you.
Her career may depend on pleasing these lobbyists.
You're natural. Well, let's go ahead. Let's talk. If a member of Congress has a troop of lobbyists coming through his or her office every single day, it's still up to him or her to say no. And that's really hard for them. They love to say yes. They absolutely love to say yes. You want something? I want to give it to you because I need your vote. So they are going to have to learn to say no a lot. They're going to need to practice in the mirror.
Practice hard because there are so many advocates with so much need. This woman's upset about a governor's cuts.
I'm a nurse. I care about people. He is going to make my patients sicker because he will not give me a voice to advocate for them.
She even says budget cuts are racist.
This is despicable.
It's relentless. And people talk about the big lobbyists, the Boeing or Intel or whatever else, and they're here. But they're outnumbered 20-1 by the advocates of small, specific spending programs.
Congressman Jeff Flake and Scott Garrett are a rare breed in Congress. Actual budget cutters who resist the lobbyists' pleas. They make such a good case for patients who are going to lose health care. You must be cruel
to resist this stuff.
That's the argument that they always make. There'll always be somebody coming into your office asking for more money.
Teachers teaching teachers.
Avoid having budget cuts in housing.
How do you say no?
I appreciate your issue, and it is a good cause that you're coming to talk to us about. But unfortunately, that's not the role of the federal government.
Restore funding to the National Writing Project.
We're here to say stop the cuts. The fact that there are any cuts at all is due to the recent uprising by voters. They elected dozens of new representatives who promised to shrink government. Finally, congressmen like Garrett and Flake have some allies.
For years, you two must have felt lonely around here.
Well, we hung out together.
Yeah, it's been a bit, but there are more of us now.
So you can see the problem. He's a pretty good host, but you can see the problem. It's all the bullshit lobbyists who give them money, and so they have to answer. So if somebody gives me $1,000 to do something, I got to do it, right? Within reason, though, not. So that's the problem. So the government never makes cuts. It keeps growing and growing. The money doesn't grow on trees, as I used to tell Carmen. This is it. This is all you can print. This is why they can't go to a gold standard, because to do all this, they'd have to print more money. So they couldn't get these kickbacks. Otherwise, the gold standard, it would be good for the people, but not for the government. And that's the big problem. So this is going to be interesting in Russia and China. I don't think you make Putin do anything in Xi. I'm sure they do what they want. There's no lobbyist in Russia or China. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. So keep an eye on this. Looks like a 6 o'clock or 8 o'clock also drop, and the 10 o'clock. So one of them is China, and then the 10 o'clock, I think, is England, because it would be 4 o'clock there. Those are the two big drops. And anyway, so the gold's just about gone, I think. And we see the price go up every day. Like I said, this is not profit taking, because you don't want to get back on the Titanic. So it goes up $20. I didn't sell an ounce today to go, sell the ounce. Oh, I made $20. Okay, now what do I do? Oh, okay, I get this again. Well, wait, I don't want this. I got to get away from it. How do I get away from it? Oh, to buy gold and silver, because that's the only option, right? There's nowhere else I can go. Even I can go buy a Montana card. I can go buy, a Rolex. But basically, yeah, okay. So I'm back into this. So I don't want to go back into this. So that's why there's no profit taking for gold at this point until we get better money that we can hold on to, which will be this gold-backed BRICS money. So we will see. Otherwise, that's a big thing. I was watching this one, what really happened in Maui, which I just started watching. It looked like somebody started the fire, then they blocked the roads so people couldn't get out. It reminded me of the Patriot, where they lock him in the church, Malfoy's father, and then they all get burned alive in the church. They won't open the door, and that's what it was. They were putting roadblocks up on the road so people couldn't get out. What the hell is going on? So anyway, that's ridiculous. Anyway, so hopefully we can get gold-backed BRICS money as opposed to our dollars, because our dollars are through. Nobody wants them, so no demand, no value. But people think they have value because you pay your rent $1,600, so you think, well, it has value, but it doesn't. It's 1,600 is just a number out of the air, and I give you 1,600 of these phony dollars, and you take it, and you're happy, and you think you got money because you're clueless. So that's what happened. A quick stoic at the hot tub. Some lady, older lady, 50s, is sitting there bothering me in the tub, and I'm being quiet. And then 4 girls go in, and the lifeguard had already asked them their age. You got to be over 11 to get in. So the lifeguard asked the age, and they do, "Hey, Luke." Well, yeah, I was showing the gold thing. I'll get back to the story in a minute. So if you look at, we're at 2340. If you look at that double dip, so it dipped at 6:30 and then it double dipped at 10, but then at 10:15 it jumped right back, and then at 2 o'clock. So you can see the marks. Yesterday we were down $30 by 8 o'clock. And then all of a sudden by 10 o'clock, we were up $40. It was up 40 from there. So this will be this looks like it's the new stair step, because it only went down to 2320 today, and it was 2328 or 2326. So it really just went back there and then immediately kicked up. And so it looks like 2340 will be tomorrow's stoic stop, and so that drops, and then they buy it, and then and eventually they're not going to do it because they've got to be losing money, because they're saying that the price is going down. The price doesn't go down, and if you keep betting that shorting the gold and saying, well, we're betting it goes down and it goes up, you got to pay the piper. And I don't mean Rowdy Piper. So then we'll look at silver. And look what silver did. The same, it didn't go down. It went down a little bit at 6, and then it goes up to 27.93 at 9:30, and then it tumbles all the way down to tumbles 60 cents. And then in the next 5 minutes, it goes back up nearly all of it. And then it goes up and up and up, and now it's 27.80. So very interesting how at 10 o'clock, both gold and silver get tanked, and then they come right back up. So that shows you how strong the demand is. So I thought they were out of gold. I think the U.S. is, but we're still seeing, I don't see the 10 o'clock drop every day. It didn't drop Friday. So this could be from the weekend. I don't know, but there's a problem. But I think we're nearing the end of this because there's too much demand for gold and silver. And as I said before, I don't think there's any gold left. I think all 250,000 tons are done. They're bought between China, Russia, India, and the central banks and Saudi Arabia. I don't think there's any left. And again, that 8,000 tons. So I guess the way it worked, I think Egon was saying, so you have 8,000 tons in Fort Knox, which you sell to JP Morgan because they're the bullion bank, and then they sold it to Japan or China, and and then when the Fort Knox wants it back, they're saying we can't get it back. It's in China. They're not going to give it to us back. So that's how the 8,000 kind of is there, but not really. It's been derivative out to China. So that's what's happening there. Back to my story. So anyway, I mean, I think we'll see 2,400 by Wednesday, 2,500 by Friday. Silver, it's funny how gold goes $12, $15, $20 a day, and silver does 62 cents. And it's like, what the hell? We got to get rid of that ring fence, as Andrew McGuire says, where they just go in a circle, right? So there's a lot of demand for silver that's not being met, that they'll just go elsewhere, and then the price will start rising. So I think we're close to that. Anyway, silver has gone from 22 to 27 in a month. It should already be 100. So I know it's good news because you've been watching it and going, shit, why doesn't it go? Why doesn't it go? But that's not anywhere near reality. The reality, put a zero after it. 270 is close to reality, but not even there. Just like gold's nowhere near reality at 23. At 2340, it is not anywhere near reality. And then just you got to be careful because you'll see it dive, And then like at 10 o'clock, I don't want to even watch it. And then by 11 o'clock, it's gone. Whoop, and then boom. Those of you betting tonight, I like Connecticut small, -6.5. And I like big, the under of 146. That's what I got it at. It was on yesterday's video. So I had done a video earlier, but there was stuff on it that I thought I might get in trouble with. So I just deleted it. I don't want to hear it. And off we go with it. So that's why. So I was on earlier. But yeah, I mean, so I'm looking forward to the gold, and silver moving up. And that's my retirement plan. That's it. As it moves up, I make money. There's no profit taking because if you do, you go into this, you don't want to go into that. So I can see selling some silver to buy gold or something like that, or buy a Rolex. The only time I would sell is to pay bills. That's why I keep money in the safe as safeguard, so I don't have to sell the gold. But I don't want to go back into this. So what I want to do is get the BRICS gold back currency if possible. I don't know how we go to a gold back currency, but if it's not gold back, CBDCs are be worthless because they're fiat, and this dollar will be worthless. If they come out with a new dollar, it's not backed by gold, will be worthless. And they'll try to paint a picture. Oh, this money will be good. It's all Putin's fault, and this money will be good. Don't worry about it. Da, 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 da. Don't fall for that crap. Meanwhile, back to the hot tub. So there's this old lady. She's like 50s, and so four girls walk in. They're not minorities. I got to be careful what words I use. They're not minorities. They come in, and the lifeguard asks them how old you are, and they all, well, we're 12. Okay. Then they leave. Then they come back. Well, there's no reason for her to ask how old you are. She's already asked you, and she knows they're of age. And this minority girl walks in who looked like she was 9 or 10, and the lifeguard goes, how old are you? And the woman freaks out next to me saying, oh, you're just asking her. Why don't you ask all the girls? Why are you just asking the minority girl? And it was a young girl. This girl is in high school. I was talking to her today. So I assume she's 17 or 18. And she just kind of took it. And I would have said, lady, look, I ask all the girls because I got to find out their age. I got to make sure, but it's not race related or anything like that. It's just strictly, it's not are they a minority or not. It's, I already knew they were old enough, and I was simply asking her, which is my job. Kids aren't allowed in if they're under 11. So I'm asking, she looks 9. So I'm asking her age. She's going to lie anyway and say, I'm 11, but I got to ask her. And for the lady to get like hysterical and screaming at the lifeguard, and I'm sitting there going, look, lady, shut up. I'm trying to relax in the hot tub. Why are you yelling? I hate that. I hate when people go into the hot tub with their phone and watching whatever. But this lady's yelling at this poor girl. All right, she's a 17-year-old high school, and she's Asian, so it's not even like she's, a non-minority. And she's yelling, "Oh, you're," and I don't think the lady was minority who was yelling. And so she keeps yelling and yelling. And now I'm staying stoic. I am not getting in the middle of this because I know there's no way I can win. There's no way I can argue with this lady because she doesn't listen. She's out. She's a head vampire, right? So she's yelling at this poor girl. And I'm just sitting there going, no, don't say anything, Howard. Don't, just let it go. So, after a couple more minutes, I get out and I go to the girl. I go, are you okay? I'm sorry you had to hear that crap. She was way over the line. And so I talked to her today, and she says, oh, I'm okay. I'm like, how can you be okay? You just got yelled at by some vampire. And apparently when she got out, went to the supervisor and said, there's, discrimination. You're going in after this girl and not these girls. And it was and the supervisors were on the lifeguard side. Look, this is what we do. She already asked the age. Now, all the lifeguard needed to say was, I already asked them for their age, but any kid who comes in, every kid that comes in, I ask the age. It's not, minority or non-minority. So she was okay today, but I could see she was happy that I had kind of said, she was wrong. But I never seen anything like it. We're in a freaking hot tub, and you're bitching about some girl who comes in who looks like she's 9, and she's saying she's 11, and because she's a minority, you think they're discriminating. You got to be out of your mind. If you sit, I'm here every day, so if you watch, they ask all the kids the same thing. Oh, we got to push. Silver, 27.93. Maybe we'll hit 28. Anyway, so this is what we deal with, these crazy people who she's getting so worked up because some girl who she has no idea, who looks like she's 9, and all they're doing is asking her age. And the other girls who were in and then went out and then came back in, I don't need to ask them every time they come in the hot tub. Once they come in, I understand that they're there. So really, really strange. Anyway, so that was my stoic moment. I didn't say a word. Normally I would have said something to the lady, like they look at all the kids. It doesn't matter, any minority, majority, whatever they are, any kid that looks like they're 8 or 9 or 10, they've got to be 11. So they ask. So I don't know where she was getting that, oh, you're not asking all the girls. Well, why is that your problem? It's not your hot tub. It's what's your deal? So this is the insanity in the world, is these people yelling like, look, dude, we're in the hot tub. We want to relax. So I gave myself 5 points for not getting involved, but going to the lifeguard and then seeing her today and going. Anyway, what else was stoic? I was looking at, I think I said that. So be careful when somebody's telling you stuff about economics or gold or whatever. Just be careful who they are and what they are. I was showing you this lady before, and she's a Keynesian, but it took a while to figure it out because she came up with these fancy terms. I'm a exotic economist or whatever she said. And I had never heard of her, and I looked it up and it didn't say. So I watched her video, and when she said that inflation is because of prices, I knew she was a Keynesian because it's money printing. So if you see the Stossel one, that video where she says you can only, the more you print, the less it's worth, and you can only print until you run out of money. And that's the thing with the Fed. They don't think they can run out of money. Well, we got money. We'll just print it. We're not going to run out. And that's the Ponzi scheme part of what's happening, right? So they keep printing and they keep printing, and we will never run out because we can keep printing. That's how stupid these people are. But the more you print, the less they're worth. So eventually you're printing and it's not worth anything. Like they showed the kid in Zimbabwe with $10 million and it's worth $1. Well, that's what it's going to be for us with BRICS. That's what I'm worried about with Daria. It's like the BRICS gold-backed dollar we'll need $1,000 US for one gold-backed BRICS dollar or ruble, and that's really the problem. We'll need that, and that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard for me. So I sent her rent today. I got my Social Security, which I don't know. I'm always a little nervous, anything coming from the government, but it was fine. It was there. And then I sent her rent. She's got a fever now. She caught her daughter's fever. Jenna got a chipped tooth, got that fixed, went to the doctor for a blood test because she still got her fever. they're doing some more tests on her, which I don't even, they're not going to the problem. They're just testing. Is it this? Is it that? I remember I went in for something and, and so they're testing me and they go, well, we rule it's not a heart attack. And I was like, well, I didn't think it was. I thought, I'm wondering why I have this pain, but I didn't think it was a heart attack. Anyway, so that's medicine now. They rule out everything. Okay. So baseball, the Dodgers, Atlanta under, and Arizona, and I gave them out earlier. The Atlanta under 10 is already going. Is 23-40. See, look how it goes. It all ebb and flows. It starts dropping, and then all of a sudden, what happens, I don't know, and it starts going. Now it's 23-42, 27-85. This was 90, so this is crazy. But here we go, 23-42. So we want to make the stair step higher and higher. Again, I'm not sure why I know the price goes down because of the derivative. I'm not sure what drives the price up. Who's buying what and how are they buying it? This is not clear to me. In other words, football, if you bet on Cincinnati, the spread goes up, or Kansas City. But I don't know who's buying the gold that is making the price go up. Central banks? It's not me going to the gold store and buying an ounce, I wouldn't think. I don't think it's Luke buying the box of silver driving the price of silver up. I just think, well, they're buying tons of silver. They're buying, there's like 50 orders of 2,000 tons of silver that's not being delivered. I think that's going to really drive the price up. And then the gold's just going to keep flying. Again, there's no reason to profit take. Because then you get back on the Titanic, the dollar, and what good is that? So anyway, so I'll start looking more at, college basketball is over. I'll get off soon because it's on, but I can't watch it. I don't have TBS. I have TNT, but I can't get the TNT because Spectrum, my internet provider, on my Tubi or what is it, Roku TV, isn't on there, right? I can't get TNT or TBS on my TV because of my internet, or at least I don't know, but I'm not gonna waste my time. So I'm watching the Batman movie for the 18th time. What a confusing movie. You're trying to watch it and what's going on? Who's that? What's that? And then finally, after watching it a few times, you start figuring it out. Then the next one's not till 2026. What the hell is that? Because of a writer's strike? Screw the writer's strike. You don't need that. But anyway, so that's a long wait. So keep in mind, you want out of the dollar. I don't even pay attention to Bitcoin on a daily basis. Stock market's going to crash. And that's what I kind of keep you from doing, Luke, is buying stocks now when they're going to crash. That's why I laugh at half these YouTube guys, these economists. Oh, I like Rick Rude. I like this stock and these stocks are going to go. And it's like, dude, they're all going to crash. See, that's how stupid these guys are. They don't even understand that the market's going to crash when all the foreigners who have US dollars trade them in because they don't want them because they realize they're worthless. So what are they going to do? They're going to pull there's like $15 trillion of their money in the stock market. They're going to pull it out. Well, what do you think is going to happen to the prices? I was coming back from the pool about 2:30, and it looked kind of dark out, but I didn't have sunglasses, so I couldn't look up. And but it was, you could see it was, I think it was supposed to happen about 3:30 in Cleveland, but I didn't really pay. I didn't want to look up, and I started actually the show at about 3, but I didn't see it. It'll be on YouTube. I've seen it before. It's not a big deal. But that's what we're looking at. So wait for the market to crash. See, everything, we can't go broke and you have this huge stock market. And people don't realize yet, but they will, that we're broke. The dollar's worthless, right? So I know it. You guys now know it. But most of the people don't. So they're not selling their stocks, or who knows, they'll just keep putting money into the stock market to keep the stock market up. So I say, look at us. We got our economy's great, because of the election. Biden, I mean, anybody that vote for him got to be crazy, but that's the point. He'll say, look at our economy. So there's no way they're going to let this happen before the election. And if Trump wins, then of course, well, the market's at 5,000. 23.43. Roll Tide. So that's what you're doing. So I was doing some thinking, Luke, and you realize every dollar silver goes up, and you got what, 40, 50,000 ounces? Something like that. Well, you got the two boxes. How many ounces are in each box? Like 5,000 or something. So do a little math, times that by 1, and you just made a whole lot of money. If you got 10,000 ounces, it goes up $1. You just made $10,000. And when it really starts running, you're going to make 10,000 a day. And that's how I look at my silver, my gold. Every $100 it goes up, I make quite a bit of money, as I'm starting to figure it out now. Let's see, all these ounces times 100 is a big money. You have 3,100. So every 100, you make 3,100 times, or not, I shouldn't say 100. Let's say every dollar you make 3,100. So $10, you'll make $31,000 when it hits 35, right? When it hits 50, and when it goes to 100, you'll be a rich man. And wait till it hits 500. So if it goes up $100, which is hard, but it will eventually, add 2 zeros to that, right? So 31, so it's $310,000 when it goes up $100. You're up 31. You'll have $310,000 worth. Now you have 3,100 times 2790. I like this. Why did the play-by-play? Gold 23.42, silver 27.90. It rolls until about, there'll be a slight down at midnight, and then we got to worry about the 6 a.m., which I think is China. And maybe I'm wrong. There's somebody at 6, and then the 10 o'clock. I'm not sure if it's going to happen every day or not. But anyway, so that's what we're looking at. And that's it. But I started doing some math on that, going, wow, I'm going to make a lot every time this goes up $100, and it went 21, and it's 22, now it's 23, at 24. It's a hefty amount. That's my retirement plan. So we're the only ones actually making money. Do you realize that? People in stocks, it's going to cave. The house values are going to cave. Your Rolex will be okay, but it's still in dollars. Bitcoin's in dollars. It'll go to zero. But we'll be making money in gold. And I don't understand, like, alligator. Well, it's not gold going up. It's the dollar going down. No, Chuckles. It is gold going up, because if the dollar goes down, it loses value. It takes more dollars to buy something. So what he's saying is gold's the same. It's always 1 ounce of gold. To that point, I understand. But the other point is, but if there's more, if there's more buyers, then it knocks the price up. So the example I use is, if there's 500 people wanting the Mahomes card and they only made 50, the price is going up, not because the dollar is going down, but because of the demand. And my point is, the demand for gold is making the price go up, not the dollar, because the dollar's already gone down and gold hasn't really gone up yet. If what they're saying is the dollar going down, gold should be up a ton. Gold should be 35,000 by now if it was based on the dollar dropping, but it's not. It theoretically is, but it keeps getting stopped by comex. So that's my point. When we get to a real value, then it would be much higher. I can see gold going to 20K and silver to 1,000. Who knows, could even go higher. The derivatives blow up across the world, and there's a lot of derivatives. Exactly, Luke. That's why a lot of people are going to lose their ass, and we'll be sitting there going, this is great. Gold's knocking our gold's going up. But then what happens is, and here's the kicker, the dollar will go out to zero because it's bankrupt. It's not worth anything. You've printed it to death. Gold gets valued in gold. Gold becomes, there's a thing on the Egon, if you watched it, and I showed it twice. He says there's a point where it doesn't matter how much money you have, you won't be able to buy gold with US dollars. You'll still be able to buy gold. You'll buy it with BRICS dollars, but not with US dollars. And that was his point. And that's my points. Then gold becomes gold. And at that point, you're fine. Your gold now is the value. Now it's the medium of exchange. Now it's the money. So it's not like gold's going to be worth $20,000. Gold is now the champion, right? It won the game, and gold is worth a fortune. And that's why I'm saying, so you'll be able to buy a house with an ounce or two of gold, because what happens, so you own a $500,000 house, the dollar goes to zero. Your mortgage goes to zero. Your house goes to zero because it's priced in dollars. So now you don't have a mortgage anymore. But then you're like, oh shit, my house isn't worth anything. And that's why I'm saying, no, it just gets revalued in gold or whatever the new medium of exchange is, which should be a gold-backed currency. And then it becomes worth 2 ounces of gold or 3 ounces of gold, whatever, not a lot of gold. And that's the key. Then you'll know what gold's worth. Gold's worth 2 ounces of gold's worth a $500,000 house. Theoretically, it's worth $250,000, but there's no more dollars. So now it becomes worth, 2 ounces is worth a house. And the house is worth zero in dollars. See, the key is it's worth something in dollars. This is worth, let's say $1,000, 50 count. If this was a 10, let's say it's worth 1,000. It goes to zero because the dollar doesn't have a value. So now this card's worthless in dollars, but then it comes up in gold, and somebody with gold can buy it from me, or silver. The other thing is, you have all these ounces of silver. You're going to take, and you paid what, $28, $30 an ounce for them. Well, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the coin store a little at a time and take 20 ounces in, and it's going to be 10 ounces for an ounce of gold. And you're going to trade your 20 of your ounces of silver because you got so much of it, and you're going to get 2 ounces of gold. And that's what you're going to do. And then you'll be getting, so for example, if gold's 20,000 and your silver's 2,000 an ounce, you take your silver, your 10 ounces of silver in, and you buy a $20,000 ounce of gold. So you paid $30, you paid $600 for the silver at $30 an ounce. $600 you turn into 30,000 or 20,000, whatever. Not a bad return on investment. So that's really the key with the silver. I think you'll use it more to trade and get gold than you will go to Kroger's with it. And I don't know if they're going to see. It's like Zimbabwe. I showed you this. So here's a Zimbabwe gold-backed currency, right? So that's what will happen. They'll just make the bills, right? And that's what they're going to do. So you will have bills. Now, these bills are, I guess, valued They're valued between 1 and 200. So what they're going to do in Zimbabwe is you got money in the bank. They're going to switch it to the gold-backed currency, which I don't know if it's going to be 1 for 1. That isn't said in the story, and that would surprise me. Normally it'd be like 50 to 1, right? So you give me $50 and I'll give you 1 gold. So that's what I'm thinking. But that's what we'll do then. So you'll have your money in the bank if there's still banks, and then you'll buy the new gold-backed currency. Let's say it's 20 to 1. So, you got $2,000, you get 100 gold-backed currencies. But all the prices will come down and be priced in gold. Now, they're still using the dollar, which is very confusing. How are you pricing your things? So what do you go to the grocery store and there's hamburger buns? Well, what is it? Like 10 US dollars, 1 gold-backed currency, Zimbabwe. So they have a month and the banks are supposed to switch out all the old money. And now you have the gold-backed currency in your account. How are you changing the prices? You can't go 1 for 1. I mean, that's ridiculous to say, well, now the gold-backed paper is worth the same as the non-gold-backed paper. It doesn't make sense. Wait, this is inflated and worthless. This is backed by gold. They're not worth the same. So I don't know the weight, but that's what they're doing. So they have 30 days to change your money into the gold money. So that was our question the whole time, is how much time are we going to have? But we've already been putting the money into gold. We're not waiting for that. But you can see what the Zimbabwe. So my point was really, that's what the dollar looks like. So that's what we should be getting. And they talk about their inflation rate. Annual inflation in March reached 55%. However, the U.S. dollar, which accounts for 85% of transactions, will remain legal tender. Most people are likely to continue to prefer this until the dollar doesn't have any value. Then why would you want the dollar when you can have a gold-backed currency? Unbelievable. Coins will also be introduced to overcome the shortage of U.S. coins. Banks must convert current Zimbabwe dollar balances to the ZiG, but is it even money, which I doubt. They don't say that. He committed to ensuring that the amount of local currency in circulation was backed by equivalent value in precious metals, mainly gold or foreign exchange. So it sounds like it's even money. In order to prevent the currency losing value, well, it won't if it's backed by gold. Now are they really backing it by gold? Zimbabwe's have a mistrust for central banks when it printed $10 trillion notes while inflation had run out of control. Oh, so, you can't just keep printing, huh? So that's what, 2345 and 2810. Here we go, Luke. We're having a big 2811. Look at this. I'm so excited. This is the 10 o'clock rise here. 28. There you go. You just made some more money just watching. 2344. We're up $17, which is nice. Well, when you don't have the derivatives keeping it down, there's such huge demand for gold that you have no idea. Between China and India, there's huge demand, and then all the central banks. Everybody who understands knows this is worthless. Everybody knows that. We cannot sell our T-bills, right? We put the T-bills on auction, nobody buys them. The Fed is buying the T-bills from the Treasury. And the China and Japan and the other countries are selling their T-bills back to us. So we can't control our debt. It's 35 trillion. We got to pay another $1 trillion in interest in a month or two. I think it's every quarter, so we probably just paid it. The dollar has no value. We understand that. So now you can see the world understanding it, going, I need gold and silver. And they're just And again, the kicker is nobody wants to profit take it. Yeah, really, well, that's what happens. 23.45 and 28.08. Yeah, see, the point is, this is different than a stock. You're not profit taking this because then you got to get back on the Titanic, which you don't want. You know this is worthless. So, okay, I'll profit take my gold. Where are you going to go with it? Okay, so okay, I'll sell my gold because I bought it at, I bought some at 250. I could profit take it, but what would be the point of it? If I profit take it, I'm back stuck on the Titanic, and the Titanic is half in the Atlantic right now. So I don't want to get back on the boat. That's the point I've been making and doing, is getting out of this to buy gold. So why would I want to sell my gold to get back into this? That's why you're seeing these huge goes up, because the Titanic's halfway into the water now, right? They're shooting out flares. That's where we're at. And believe me, and most of the people don't even understand it. The central banks do, and we do. Russia and China and India do. But in Saudi Arabia, they don't want to be in the dollar, and all these countries getting out of the dollar. So if you understand all that and you understand the dollar's crap, you don't sell and you keep buying. So everybody's buying. We're getting close to that frenzy time where everybody realizes they all been made off, and they all get off the boat and they run to the gold, and there's not enough gold because I think most of the 250,000 tons is already gone. And the only way to get it is like at my store. The only way I can get gold at my store is people are coming in and selling because they think it's at an all-time high. Oh, I'm going to sell my gold now. It's at 23.44. So I'm going to sell it because I bought it at 500 or 1,000 or whatever. I'm going to take my profit. But they don't realize but they're getting back into the dollar. And what they don't realize is, so if you do profit take and gold keeps going up, did you really make money? No, because you got to rebuy the gold or your dollar's worthless. So if you just profit take, you're in this and it's zero. Well, you don't want to do that. The alternative is, I got to get back into gold and silver, but the price keeps going up because it's not going to come down because nobody's going to profit take. It's not that, it's gold. You don't profit take it. Maybe you do once you have a gold backed currency, but to get into the dollar, you're not profit taking it to get into the dollar, which is the whole key. Thankfully, we're prepared. 99% not even vested. Once through 48 to the moon. Yeah, and I don't think it'll be too far away because according to Mark McGuire, there's all these companies, solar, India and China especially, has a lot of 2,000-ton orders of silver out there that are not being met. And they're starting to go to the mines and not to the other. And then COMEX just doesn't have it. So COMEX really can't be involved with gold because they need the physical, because the Chinese and the Indians are going to buy it. So if you don't have it, you can't play the game. So they can't do the derivative to lower it. And here comes China buying it. Okay, we need the gold. Well, we don't have it. Okay, goodbye. You're out of the game. You can no longer play. As Mark McGuire would say, they don't have chips in the casino. So I'm starting to figure out what he means. So basically, the casino is COMEX, and it's just been a loop where it just is contained. And now what's happening is it's not a loop anymore. China and India are coming in saying, give us the gold. So they can't play their little derivative games anymore. So once it just keeps going up, it's look out. Silver will be the same, but the difference is silver is not a tier one asset. A tier one asset means gold is just the same as treasury bills. So if you want safe haven, you buy gold as opposed to treasuries. Silver is not like that. Plus, they can still kind of ring fence silver, where in gold with the Basel III, they have to sell it to China, right? If China says, I want it, they got to sell it to them. And you don't want to piss China off. But with silver, it's not like that. That's why silver is a little bit behind. But with all these 2,000 orders, there's not enough silver to satisfy 10 2,000 ton orders at 32,000 ounces a ton, right? They don't have it. So it's basically blown up. Just a little bit of time left in silver, I'd say, by the end of the month. By May 14th, they've already green lighted the gold backed currency. You just got Zimbabwe going with the gold backed currency. And a lot of people are afraid of the US. That's why Zimbabwe is keeping with the dollar. But they still came out with the Zimbabwe gold backed currency. So they're kind of playing nice with the US because the US a bunch of bullies. But that's why they're still doing it. But it's your choice. Would you rather have gold or the US? I'm ready to fly to Zimbabwe and buy some gold backed currency. I'd rather sell it and do it there than I don't want these dollars if I had to sell. But they'll go up. So that should start pushing the price of gold up too. Back to 28 on the silver. It hit it, and now it's like, okay, run a derivative. It went too high. We went to 28.15. We got to run a derivative. Gold's holding 23.44. The mines will have to freeze now buy until it settles. The mines will have to freeze. No buy until it settles. Well, no, you'll just go to the mines and they can charge whatever because, like Tesla, they need the silver for the batteries to make their car. So if you do not have the silver, you can't make the car. So they're not going to pay 25 an ounce. They'll pay 200 an ounce because they need the silver to make the battery to make the car. So they're stuck. They can't make any more cars without the silver to make the batteries. So that's the reason. So the mines should start going. But I think they're just going right to the mines and they'll settle on $40, $50, $75 an ounce. I don't get what it must be mafia or something where they're keeping the mines to go to comex. And the mines are settling on $24 an ounce or, $28 an ounce now. Why are the mines settling on that? It's just ridiculous. With a market crash with the U.S. dollar, the market crash with the U.S. dollar. Yeah, because so there's $130 trillion U.S. dollars outside of the U.S. So we're in the U.S. There's $21 trillion printed here, which is enough to blow it up anyway. There's $130 trillion outside. So let's say we're in Barcelona and we've got U.S. dollars and we put in the stock market. Okay, Luke, let's buy, whatever. We'll buy Amazon. Okay, so we own Amazon. It's priced in U.S. dollars. But now we realize the U.S. dollar is going to be zero. It's going to be worthless because it doesn't have value. So we sit there and go, oh, shit, we got to get the money out. We got to get our money back out of the U.S. dollar. So what do? We sell all our stock, not including the silver mines. We sell it to get it back into Barcelona, and then we either buy Spain or we buy gold. We would buy gold, and that's what we would do. So that's how you get your U.S. dollars out. And there's U.S. dollars in the banks from other countries. There's U.S. dollars in houses. So like the Chinese, they had their housing crisis. So they bought a bunch of houses, let's say, and they're priced in U.S. dollars. The U.S. dollar is going to zero. They don't want the house anymore. So these should be sold. And that's what will happen. All these, and that's what happened. China's stock market just crashed. And I think Japan's did too recently. And it's the same thing. They're realizing their currencies are shit. They're getting out. And that's also pushing gold and silver. Luke, silver miners, I believe, are a hedge to the crash of Main Street economic valuations. Are a hedge to the crash of Main Street. The silver miners, there's no demand for them. People don't like gold and silver. Just like the coins, the miners are just, I don't know if they're a hedge. They're just basically, everybody's in Amazon and Apple. So again, it's an auction. What do you want? Do you want the silver miner or Amazon? And everybody's in Amazon and Apple and Microsoft. That's what it is. And there's no interest. Just like if you went to a financial planner or financial advisor and you tell them, I got 100 grand, where should I put it? And to quote my Attack on Wall Street guy, oh, put it in real estate trust, not in gold. That's why I always say I would have told him to put 60 grand in gold and he'd be a rich fella right now, because gold was at $3 or $4, or let's say $500 an ounce early 2000s, and it went up to 1100 after the crash. You'd have made a fortune. But he lost all his money in real estate trust because they screwed him. So my point is, me and you understand that we'd want to be in gold and silver in a normal market in a normal time. But with all this money gonna be come back to the U.S. and they're gonna take their stocks and houses and banks money out of the bank, with all that happening, we don't want anything to do with the stock market, because it's not really, I don't think, to me, the gold and silver don't need a hedge. I mean, if gold goes down, so does Newmont Mining and everything else and all these silver stocks. I don't know how it's a hedge. The hedge would be Apple or whatever, another stock, I guess. But all the stocks are going to crash because, yes, of the U.S. dollar and the people pulling their money out, running to safe haven. But there really isn't any safe haven but gold, or now the BRICS. So you watch, May 14th, BRICS announces gold-backed currency. As soon as that's out, like the Zimbabwe dollar, if the stock market hasn't crashed by then, it will, because now they have a place to take their money and put it. And they'll put it in the BRICS gold-backed currency. And that's the end of the dollar. That's why, and they're not calling it, they're saying, well, we're just going to give you an alternative. Well, who the fuck wants a broke US dollar when you can have a gold-backed currency? So that's why it ends, and it'll end early. Well, once the gold-backed dollar comes out. I mean, I'm not sure that everybody's not going to run to Zimbabwe for gold-backed currency. Seemed like the obvious choice ahead of the euro and all these other ones. I don't understand why the Swiss franc is not gold-backed. I got to talk to Egon on that one. That doesn't make any sense. They know it. They're the ones who know it, and yet they still let it happen. I think they will be one of the few that go up. There will be a flood out of the, oh, you're killing me with this stupid heart. There will be a flood out of the S&P and into gold and silver stocks. Again, I don't know. I check out 1929. All the stocks got crushed. It wasn't like, Ford was selling cars back then. I don't think Ford stock went up. Again, the depression was all because of the idiot Keynes. Keynes was FDR's financial guy, and just keep printing money and we'll have government spending. That's the key. And it caused the depression to go for 10 years because of that idiot. But yet we still use them. I don't know what people see. He hasn't been right about anything. I don't know what people, I'm going to be Keynes because Keynes is socialist or communist, and, we'll have government spending and, we'll worry about unemployment, but we don't want savings and we don't want gold. And it's like, oh my God, unbelievable. Well, I think the flood will be SAP or S&P, but I don't believe gold and silver stocks. I believe, maybe if you can't get gold, or if gold's up to 20,000 an ounce, you can't afford it. but I don't. It's not a trade-off. It's okay. So we're in Barcelona, and we see it, and we sell our stocks. We don't stay in the market. We get the hell out of the market, right? We don't switch it to silver and gold. We just simply get out of the market. That would be my thought process. Again, never seen this before. My logic takes me to get my money the hell out, not, switch it to Newmont Mining and whatever silver stocks you like. We'll go there. Because one of the things is you're going to need money, because if you're stupid enough to be on margin, you got to pay it off. So again, you need money. So again, you sell all your stocks so you can pay your margin calls. Again, I don't know how much is in margin, but I would imagine a lot. And I would imagine you're selling all your stocks to get to pay off the margin. Mining stocks are so cheap, so is silver. Yeah, but I'd rather own the coin than own the stock, because I can't control the stock market. I can control the coin much better. So when it goes up to $100 an ounce, we're assuming the stock goes up because now the inventory is worth $100 versus $27. And I agree 100% with you, but the only way a stock goes up is if people buy it. So are you going to buy the stock? Are you going to sell all your stocks but buy that one? And that's where I'm judging by the 1987 crash and the 1929 crash, the 2000. I don't know if there was a market crash in 2008. You sell everything. You get liquid. You have to pay your margin calls. So I don't know how much is going to be left for the gold and silver stocks to even get into them. And then you're going to, the gold price is up. Why aren't the stocks up? Because nobody's buying stock, because nobody trusts the stock market. But the whole world will be in coins, right? People in Zimbabwe, are they buying gold and silver stocks? Or are they buying gold and silver, dollars? Or in Barcelona, are they going to buy the silver stocks, or are they going to, let's get the hell out of it and we'll just buy gold? So I don't know. I obviously I would buy the coins. And then, are your financial advisors and stockbrokers putting you in these stocks, which they hate? That'll be the other thing. I mean, yeah, I agree with your logic, because now all my inventory is there. But am I going to have all my inventory? What if there's a big run on gold and silver because everybody realizes it's the only out? It's the only escape, right? Gold and silver. I get to get on the lifeboat. Are the mines going to have any gold and silver? Or is it going to be all bought out? Because they're going to be looking for gold and silver. Like right now, look what they're doing with silver, right? Tesla and China and India, they're going right to the mine and grabbing 2,000 tons of silver out. So let's use logic here. Will the silver mines have any silver in inventory to make the stock go up? Or as they buy these 2,000-ton silver orders from the mine, we know the silver price is going to go up. So, we got to logically think, are there going to be any inventory for the gold and silver stocks to then, to your point, raise the silver stocks, $500, go from $10 to $1,000. Well, depending on the inventory, how much inventory do they have left? Because these guys are going right to the mines and buying it, because there aren't any in comex, and the ETFs are getting eaten up. So the only other place to buy silver, which I must have for my batteries and solar panels and everything else, I got to go to the mine. So I'm going to empty the mine out. So now you got your money in a stock that has no inventory. How much physical do the mines have? How much physical do they own? I mean, I don't know. I guess you could look at go on finance, Yahoo, and go to Newmont and say, how many ounces of silver do you own, or these other silver stocks that you like? and see what's your inventory, because they're not going to find any. The ground's dug. I mean, they're going to find a little, but they're not going to go find 20,000 ounces. It's gone, right? We're at the end of it. So this is basically what they have in the mine is going to be bought, all the gold and silver. So I don't know how much inventory versus now that you're going to see. I would actually, if you can look at a stock and look at inventory, there's financial statements, and you can go back the last 3 or 4 quarters and check their inventory of gold and silver and see it was here. Now, is it here or did it stay? My thought is now it's going down, which will then hurt the value of the stock because we're basing it on silver being $100 an ounce, but there's no inventory to price. And you can see that's what's happening. They're going right to the mine. So I just buy the silver. Well, you bought the silver. I would avoid the stocks at all cost until the market drops. And then so now it's $5 a share. Now it starts going up, then go buy it. What are you going to use? You ain't using dollars because they won't be around. So that's the other point, right? Stocks are priced in dollars. Dollar goes out. What's the value of the stock? The inventory goes out because it's not valued in dollars anymore. So this will be very curious. But just, I mean, I'm conservative. I'll just buy the coins. I got ounces of gold and silver and half ounces and quarter ounces of gold. So I'm just doing that. Mining stocks are cheap to a point, but we all know that's price fixed. So yeah, I'm sure they are, but what's going to create them to go up? There's got to be demand. Is there going to be demand? Silver compared to 1980 prices would be equal to 800 in today's value, of course. When I say 2000, I'm being very conservative. With a gold standard worldwide, Newmont will become the new Exxon if it has any inventory. See, that's the question that we have to answer is, will there be inventory left? Because what do you think, Abby? What do you think the Indians and the Russians and the Saudis, how are they getting paid for their oil and gold? Right? How many gold-backed currencies is BRICS going to make? And they have to have the gold. So if they have to have the gold, gold's going to be very expensive, but they'll need to get more gold. So they'll go to Newmont and say, give me your inventory. And that's kind of not what you're looking at. Is you need to understand that the price is, you're assuming everything stays the way it is, but you got to think fifth dimensionally and understand that, well, where are people going to go to get gold if they can't go to COMEX? They're going to the mine, and you can see Tesla's doing it now, right? So will the mines have gold and silver? I don't think so, because where else are they going to get it from? It's all about owning 100% of the land with the gold in the ground. But how much gold's in the ground, though? There's not a lot of gold in the ground. And who owns the land? Does the country own the land? Or does Newmont own the land? I don't know. Maybe they might think they own the land, but not really sure. Anyway, that's the issue with Newmont. That's the fifth dimensional part of your thesis here. Is you're looking at it as of today, and I'm looking at it as of what's going to happen. And so everybody needs gold and silver to get out of the dollar. Well, these people will have to go to the mines to get it. So how much gold is Newmont Mining going to have? a lot less than it has now, right? So let me look at the balance sheets later and see. But in my mind, it's the stock market is crashing. So is the house market. So are the banks. So you got to think, I need to get out of the Titanic, right? And we know how much the Ponzi scheme Wall Street is. So they'll find a way to screw us over if you're in silver stocks. They'll do something that you're not going to make anything. So just keep that in mind. You're in a Madoff game. Do you really want to play in a Madoff game? Logically, yes. The silver stocks have the inventory, and the inventory goes up a whole lot. Yeah, it should be worth a ton, but we're dealing with Madoff. And if I got coins, I don't have to deal with Madoff. I just have my coins. There are only like 2 mining stocks in the S&P 500. One is Barrick. No, that's not true. There's 4 or 5 mining stocks that I used to keep track of. So there was Barrick, there was AMB, I think. There was some gold stock, GG or whatever, unless they merged. There was Newmont. There was one other one. It was about 5. I'll check my E-Trade tonight and talk to you tomorrow about it. But yeah, there's like 5 gold stocks. There's one Warren Buffett's in, and it's the stupidest one. It never moves. Newmont used to move, but the reason I got out of Newmont was because, if I buy the stock at 40 and I buy 1,000 shares, and I'm hoping that it goes up, but if the share price drops to 30, I got to wait for it to go back to 40 to make money on it, and it is not moving. So I got out of the stocks into the gold and silver, and as they say, I sleep well at night knowing that I'm fine. Nothing can happen. Nothing's going to happen. 43-101 geography appraisals are what proves the gold deposits in the ground. Okay. And the point is, so you're saying that, let's say Newmont has a lot of gold in the ground. Okay. So here comes Russia and China to say, we'll take your gold. And, they'll dig it out. I mean, or somebody's going to dig it out. I don't know how safe the mine people think, but once gold goes to the moon, it makes it worth a whole lot. And now are you going to be able to protect it? That's another thought. It's what potential gold, silver miners are valued upon. Okay, you mean the stocks? Well, then there isn't a lot of gold and silver in the ground if the Newmont's at $30 a share. But I'm fine. I mean, I like holding the coins, and then if I need to cash one in for some cash for bills or medical or something unusual, then I have it. Otherwise, that's it. So, yeah. So you can't use today's logic to figure out the stock market. It's all based on it's like eBay. Which stock do I want? And everybody's buying Amazon and Apple. Nobody's buying the miners. That's why they're not moving. Gold goes up, or is everybody going to run to the miners? When the dollar goes out, everybody's going to dump their stocks. Why would they want to keep it in silver and gold stocks when that's still dollars, right? You're still being made off because they're priced in dollars, which is going to go to zero. How much is, what's the mine worth? Because the gold's now the gold's worth a ton because it's priced in gold, but people are going to be knocking on their doors saying, give me your gold and silver, like Tesla's doing. So I don't think there'll be a whole lot of inventory by the time the shit hits the fan, because as people get out of the dollar, they're going to buy gold and silver. It's the only answer. And so to get into gold and silver, you're going right to the mine because comex will be blown up by then, if it isn't already. And then we're waiting for the silver comex to get blown up. But that's really the key to it. Everything will change, and you've got to kind of understand that. That's why you'll buy a house real cheap, because the dollar goes out, the house is worthless. That's what happened in Germany, right? You could buy the house for $100. Gold was $20 an ounce. Now the gold was price fixed. It didn't move. It should have moved because, as Alligator tells us, when it's not the gold going up, it's the price going down. But it's the dollar going down. Well, the dollar went out and the price didn't go up. It still was $20. So he forgets that part of the equation. And so it took 5 ounces to buy the $100 house. The house value went down to $100. But that's why, because then it got priced in gold, and the price in dollars is so inflated. Look at a Pepsi, right? 1971's a dime. You've inflated the money so much, it's $2.50 when you open the fridge at the grocery store to get one while you're in line. It's $2.50. Used to be a dime. That's how badly the dollar is. But when we go back to gold, it'll be a dime. It'll be 5 cents for a Pepsi. That's what they're not telling you. So anyway, just keep that in mind. Yeah, the companies. Okay. Yeah, I'm with you, but we don't know what's going to happen to the gold and silver. Are they going to have inventory and everything? I just fear that when the market crashes, all the stocks crash. People will need money to pay off the margins. A lot of people will not have money because they're not in gold and silver. Warren Buffett will go to zero, and I'll love it because he knows everything. He'll just use his $2 billion. That'll be worthless. Coke 20 ounce, $6 at the Pirates game. Took the family yesterday. Good God, $6. I don't know what to tell you. When I go to the U of M football games, there's vendors on the street before you get in the stadium. So I usually grab 2 hot dogs and a Coke, chips, and then I eat them out there. And then maybe on the way home, I'll have another one. But basically, they got you captured, right? Well, you can't leave the stadium. And can you bring in a cooler? I don't know. Sometimes you could, but I don't know if you still can. Paid $118 on food and drink. Could have went to the grocery store and filled your cart halfway with the $118. But it's fun. You had fun. They won, I think. They're playing the Tigers now. I think they were up 7-2. Let's see. We got up to 32.45. Silver's back down to 27.80. So let's go into Yahoo. The Mets 8. Bobby must be playing. The Mets 8, Atlanta 5. Philly 3, St. Louis 1. Houston 10, Texas 5. Wow, Houston woke up. Arizona 4, Colorado 3. So that was one of my plays, was Arizona. Atlanta under 10 is going to lose. And then I had the Dodgers. Let's see. Cleveland 4, Chicago nothing. The Yankees 7, Miami nothing. Cincinnati 10, Milwaukee 8. Pittsburgh 7, Detroit 4. Mitch Keller against Reese Olson. See, when you listen to the broadcast, the Tigers have the worst broadcasters. Every pitcher is Cy Young, and the kids are going to hit 350. And, I think they have one guy over 200 on the team for hitting. And the pitcher, here's this guy, Reese Olson. Now he's 0-1 with a 5.4 ERA. So, yeah, tell me how good he is. Pittsburgh beat them 7-4. Toronto 5-2, and the Dodgers won 4-2. So I hit the Dodgers. I lost Atlanta under, and then there's Arizona, which is winning. Let's see what's going on in the March Madness. I got Connecticut -6 and under, and it's 36-30 at the half. Boy, my under is looking good. It's under 146. This was like a 20-star. And so they're at, I never know how to look at it, because 36-30, like, you think's not a lot. And then the last 5 minutes, they foul them and they put up 30 points. So, but I think their big man can handle Purdue's big man. But anyway, 36-30 at the half. So you've got to look at all the variables when you're analyzing, like, oh, should I play stocks? Stocks are a auction. You only can go up if somebody buys it. Who the hell is going to be buying the miners, or half the shit that Rick Rude says, or these guys with the, oh, buy uranium, buy this? Nobody's going to be having money to buy stocks, nor will they. So that's the problem. In today's day, it makes sense, but you got to look into the future, what's going to happen. Bobby Bowe. Yeah, well, it's, I had to come on. Well, I came on earlier, but there was some stuff that was said by one of my videos that I felt uncomfortable with this whole YouTube thing. So I deleted it and came back on really just to talk about the gold and silver. Gold was at 28. Let's see, or silver was at 28. So gold's 23.42, and silver's now 27.82. It got up to 28.15, and then the derivative came in at 10 o'clock at night and knocked it down. But gold 23.42, so it's still doing the 10 o'clock derivative. So we're doing okay. They won yesterday, and the bottom of the ninth was a good day. Yeah, Pitt's hot, and then they beat Detroit today. So that's good. I always root against Detroit because they're like the Pistons. They're like, they don't want to spend money in the line. The whole thing, the Lions never will re-sign anybody because they don't want to spend money, because they get the profit sharing from the TV. And if they have good players or not, the more they can save by having the bad players, then the more money they make, and that's why they're doing it. They're doing it to make money. They're not doing it to win. That's what nobody understands that. Who watered on the college basketball game? Oh, yeah. My lock was the under 146, and then I have a small Connecticut -6.5, and they're up 36-30 at halftime. So it looks like the under is in real good shape. But you never know. These second halves, they go on a big run, but I don't think that's going to happen. There's too much defense out there. I think you're going to see, 70-60 or something like that. Luke, you went to the Pirates games. Yeah, he was actually at the game. He was telling me about the $6 Cokes. Unbelievable. Let's fuck the fans who come see us. Unbelievable. So I was telling about this vampire woman I ran into in the hot tub yesterday. She was yelling at the lifeguard for asking ages of kids, right? The kids, you got to be 11 and older, right? And so these kids came in, and then they left and came back, and she knew they were 11. She asked. This other kid came in, and she asked her, and then the woman starts screaming, well, you didn't ask the other girls. Why are you asking her? It wasn't even like her daughter. And it was like, and she's yelling at the girl, and I stayed stoic. I didn't get involved. Then I went up to the lifeguard after, says, are you okay? I mean, you just got vampired. And she says, yeah, I'm okay. And I'm like, I don't who can get yelled at and just ignore it, except for stoic. Maybe she's stoic. I don't know. She seems like a quiet girl. Anyway, so that's what's going on. So I think we see 2,400 gold by Wednesday. We might see it tomorrow. We might see it run and drop, hit 2,400, go back to 2,370, and then hit 24 on Wednesday. And then the silvers was at 28.15 a little while ago, back down to 27.80 something. So I'm sure we've got 28, and then we got to break 30 on its way to 35, but they're still fighting with the derivatives. And it really pisses me off that why they're playing games, why they're allowed to play games. You shouldn't be allowed to play games like that, to keep the price down. You can't price fix. It's not legal. So it's kind of pissing me off. She was vampiring. We should hook her up with Grega. There you go. Yeah, Grega would have talked to her. O'Neal Cruz is going to be a star. Was that 2 players or 1? What position does he play? O'Neal Cruz. He's got 2 last names. So what is he like? Let me guess. Outfielder or pitcher? O'Neal Cruz. How do you draft a guy named O'Neal Cruz? Shaquille O'Neal, I could understand. But yeah, Bobby, you would have just shaken your head. I mean, she's right next to me and she's yelling at the lifeguard that this girl, why are you asking her age? You didn't ask the other girls. And I'm sitting there like, oh my, and I'm like doing all I can to just shut up, because there's no way I could have talked to the vampire, because I would have told her to go to hell, and she would know. She would have attacked me. And I was like, no, I'm not giving you. And then I got up and left the hot tub after about 2 or 3 more minutes. I just ignored her. She didn't like that, but I was like, I'm staying stoic right now. I am not giving you the rope to tie me up. I'm just going to keep my own business, get the fuck out. You can yell at whoever you want. I don't know why you come in a hot tub and start yelling. So the kid looked like she was 9. So to ask the kid, but what she doesn't understand is the lifeguard asks all the kids, how old are you? That's their job, because nobody under 11 can go in. So I didn't get why the lady was so paranoid about it. Anyway, 6'7" shortstop. Well, I think the Steelers need him more than the Pirates. They could play him at quarterback, 6'7", or wide receiver or something. 6'7" short. Is that good? Can they bend over? You're that tall. Can you feel the ground balls? I mean, he'll have good range, and it'll be halfway. His throw will be halfway to first, but can he bend over to catch the balls? Oh, I don't know that a very tall outfielder. How tall was Cal Ripken? Or Brooks Robinson? They seemed like 6'3", 6'4". Brooks Robinson was the best, and then Ripken was pretty good. I remember Brooks Robinson. He was probably 6'3", 6'4". Very tall guy and great hands. I mean, he'd catch everything. But usually I don't know. You don't see a lot of real tall shortstops. Was Ozzie tall? He did backflips. I didn't think he was that tall. Was he 6'7"? He wasn't 6'7". Come on. Oh, you're saying Ozzie was the best defensive shortstop? Oh, I think Brooks Robinson was the best defensive player. I remember that big goofy quarterback that used to have lay for the Broncos from Arizona State. They made a big deal about him, but he never did much. Well, I know Mark McGuire's brother was like 6'7". He played, I think, at San Diego State, and he sucked. I mean, this is the problem. Everybody wants Drake May, but he can't. He's not a quarterback. He's got a big arm. Well, yeah, so does Josh Allen. We see what that's doing. Oh, yeah, Joe Montana didn't have a real big arm. Neither did Tom Brady. They made it okay, because it's about reading defenses and moving around in the pocket to get open, to wait for the receiver to get open. Not, I can throw the ball 100 yards, so therefore I'll just throw it up for grabs. And sometimes my team will get it. Sometimes my team won't get it. Brock Osweiler, yeah, he sucked. Yeah, he was terrible. Yeah, Drake May, I don't see the big thing. Well, he's not smart enough to buy gold, Bobby. But yeah, I don't see it, and I don't see JJ McCarthy. All he did was hand off. I mean, against Washington, they had 4 touchdowns running the ball on long 30, 40-yard runs. He didn't do anything. He throws these little, I fake it up the middle, I roll out, my tight end rolls out with me, I throw a 5-yard pass, and we gain 15 yards on it. I mean, that's Michigan's offense, so I don't really see why you would draft that guy. But yeah, if he gets drafted number 2, and the ironic thing is Washington's got Thurston Howell III. He was at North Carolina. So he was before Drake May. So they're going to go get now Drake May to go with him. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Well, if somebody's stupid enough to draft him and pay him the money, then they get what they deserve, I guess. By the way, I saw some of yesterday's class, Professor, and you mentioned that you were going to do a 1-week fast. Yeah, I did 24 hours yesterday, and I did 24-hour today. I basically am only eating dinner, the avocado, and then I had a salmon today, and a little pita bread, and then the avocado, and then some veggies I cooked. But I mean, my foot keeps bothering me, so I want to. It was my knee, and then it went to my foot, and it's like, okay, and I feel a little heavy, so I want to really okay, let's lose like 15 pounds, and let's clear up my foot already, because when I'm normally on my diet, I feel fine, and I think I've been having too many little pieces of cake and ice cream. So I'm like resetting, and I'm just going to, like today, what do I got? Fine. I wouldn't have eaten today, but I had the salmon in the fridge, and if I don't cook it, it doesn't last in the fridge for 2 or 3 days. So tomorrow I could do a full day fast, which I think I need to, and go from there. But I'm not, these 1-dayers, it's like no ice cream, no cake, nothing, no sweets. And I think that'll help me out dramatically. So I don't know what it is. If I'm just getting older, and I keep getting, my foot keeps bothering me. So I'm like getting tired of it. It's like I finally get it healed, and then my knee started bothering me. And then, let's go have a piece of cake. Yeah. Oh, okay. I feel good. Let me have cake so I don't feel good. I mean, it's so stupid. So I'm just trying to reset. So I don't know if I'll go the full week, but I want to do at least a 3-dayer, but we'll see. But by eating last night, just dinner, today, didn't eat until 5:00. So I'm at least doing that, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, to me, that's the answer. Get rid of the sugar and do some fasting. But yeah, I just been putting a little bit of weight on. Once you say I can have a piece of cake or a piece of ice cream, you keep eating it. At first, okay, once a week. Saturday I'll have it, and then it becomes, well, Tuesday and Thursday, and and then you start gaining the weight. So I'm like kind of pissed off about that. Bobby, they honored Jim Leland at the Pirates home opener. He threw out the first pitch, still looking good. Yeah, Jimmy's still got it at 79. Steak Capitol Grill, Tampa. There you go. What do we need to do that? How much do we need? What's that? Silver at 100, or what was the occasion for that? But yeah, there's a Capitol Grill. There used to be anyway in Michigan, about half hour from where I live, which I'm tempted. I got steak because you had the New York strip last week. So I went and got a steak. I'm sure, who knows what the meat is now. I mean, maybe that's causing my foot, but anyway, let me know what the parameter was for the Capitol Grill. Was it $100 silver or $5,000 gold or what was it? Anyway, but I should do night shows more often. Sometimes I get bothered when I have like no comments. I'm like, where the hell is, and then I see 50 people watched it, or I'll see, 20 people watched it, but there's a little counter on top, like people, and it says I have 2 and 2 likes, but I might have 20 people. I don't know how it works, but when I don't get comments, I'm like, oh, screw it if nobody's watching it. But I still do it for the videos anyway. But yeah, today there was a few things said that I thought, oh shit, I don't want to get in trouble again with YouTube. So I deleted it, and then I'll just come back on. But we'll keep an eye. Again, gold and silver, they're starting to move. They're both up. And like I said, I don't see why gold won't keep going up, because I don't see how you can profit take, especially if all the banks are buying tons of gold. What are they going to sell? They're going to sell 2 tons to get dollars, when the whole point of buying the gold is to get out of the dollars. So we shouldn't see a lot, just these little derivatives that are hitting us. But the ironic part is the derivative will drop at 20 points, and within a half hour, we've got the 20 points back. So these guys must be losing their ass on the derivatives. And again, there's no gold and silver left. So I think they got to get out of it, and we will see. We need to reestablish the price. Bobby is still buying. Well, what was the price? And was it silver, gold, both? I don't remember. Yeah, they got one here by the International Plaza Mall up the block from the Bucks Stadium and Stein Building Energy Field, where the Yanos play spring training. Oh, I guess you mean the Yanks. The Yanos. What do you got? A new team, the Yanos? No, I know I got one too, but yeah, that's fine. But what's the requisite to meet? What are we looking for? Gold at 5,000 or 3,000? So I'm saying gold will be 24 by Wednesday and 2,500 by Thursday. It went pretty nicely. Like it went 22.70 to 23.30, and it's staying. And now it's 23.50. And that's what Mark McGuire said. He said the stair steps will keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So as we move, you're not going to see 2,200 anymore. So now it's 23.28 today, and it went down to 23.20 and then back to 23.50. And that'll be the next stair step. So now tomorrow we get real close to 2,300 or 2,400. And then by Friday, hopefully we should be near 2,500. And silver, I hope that thing just, instead of going up 50 cents, finally starts going up $5. We will see. Gold 3,500 we meet. Okay, well, that'll be a couple weeks. Like I said, it'll be 2,500 by this week. So do the math, 27, 2,800 the next, 3,000 the next. I would say when it'll be May 14th, when BRICS announces the gold-backed currency, which is green-lighted, then I would say that's when we see it. That would be my guess. Because then it'll really zoom, because people will realize there's a gold standard and want to get involved. And why would you want the dollar? And, so I'll play ball with China and Russia versus the U.S. They're probably better to play ball with. But there will not be any nuclear war, and there won't be, there's no war with China. China does not want a war. The U.S. does not have an army to go to war. And the U.S. can try to make, Taiwan like Ukraine. So basically, it's a proxy war where we're sending, we're giving aid to the Ukraine to go fight the Russians, like they have a chance. But is that what we're going to, because we don't have an army. So what are we going to do? Pay Taiwan to fight China, but they don't want to fight, and China doesn't want to fight. They're both the same. China and Taiwan do not want to fight each other. And really, Russia and Ukraine didn't want to fight each other anyway, either. Do a live show from Capitol. We could do that. Yeah, I mean that would be fun. You can be like the guest, so like you can be Egon and Alligator, and we just need that bald guy to be the host. Good answer, Professor. Bobby's the guest, and Luke, and I'll ask you guys questions or something. That would be funny. But I tell Mark McGuire, I says, we trust you. We don't trust your guests. Your guests are a bunch of idiots. So I don't trust them. Why do I want to listen to them? Especially when you trust Mark McGuire. He's forcing us out, and we don't want to listen to these other idiots. If we did, we'd listen to them. Alligator finally had a show, Bobby. You were asking. It's on, I think it's on Sunday's, yesterday's show. I'll show you what it is. So here's Alligators, Debt Trap. And then here's Egon's, which I played twice, where he says we're broke and gold's going to be an astronomical amount, which is really nice. And then there was Mark McGuire by himself, which was really good too. So those are the boys. So I played Egon's twice because it was only 9 minutes, but it's the same thing. Buy gold. And then Alligator, I had to correct him on a couple of things, which are on my video. But anyway, the boys came out. See, Mark McGuire only comes out on Fridays. And then every other Friday, it's some stupid guest. And then Egon's been okay, but it's always the same. But he does say, he keeps saying it doesn't happen overnight. But when the stadium gets that final 5% and it fills the stadium, he says we're getting close to that. But he's like, look for gold to go astronomical. I mean, nowhere near. He's trying to say these prices aren't even close to reality and look for them to go up. But even he must listen to me, because now he's saying, well, it's insurance, but it's also an investment. But he doesn't say, well, because I listened to the professor. But he's saying what I've been saying the whole time is it's going to go up because it's been price fixed down. Therefore, the gold price is nowhere near where it should be. I mean, it should be 20, 30,000, not 2,300. And the U.S. can only keep it down so long, but it won't matter because nobody's going to want the U.S. dollar when you go to the BRICS gold-backed currency. And I'll see if Daria can buy us some gold-backed currency. Now, I read about Zimbabwe, Bobby, and I showed Luke. So basically, there's the new dollar, and they're basically going to exchange your crappy Zimbabwe for the gold-backed Zimbabwe. I'll show you. I'll show you what it looks like. That's what it looks like, Bobby. So you can see it's just going to be a regular dollar, but now it's called a ZIG, Zimbabwe something gold. And the banks are instructed to move your crap money into the gold-backed money. Sounds like one for one, which makes no sense. And then they're going to keep the market price of gold to the value of this. So this is like a $10 bill backed by gold, and that's all that'll happen. It says the banknotes will be from 1 to 200 Really strange, but that's okay. 23.42, 27.77. Anyway, so it looks like we have a 2 o'clock in the morning drop, a 6 o'clock in the morning drop. They're doing it direct. One's China. I don't know. I can maybe one's India, one's China, and then the 10 o'clock one's London. But I think that one should be going. Oh, I don't know what they're doing. They need the gold they don't have. I don't know what game they're playing, but anyway, it's all bullshit. I don't know how they allow it, but they got the rules, so they allow it because they're the ones with the gold make the rules, and that's the rule they made. Once $30 breaks, watch out. Yeah, well, we're almost at 20. We did break 28 for a minute, and we are 23.42. So look for tomorrow to be 23.60-ish. It'll go up a little bit more. It'll go down, but at the end of the day, we'll get $20. And look for silver to get to 28.50 or so. It's up 62 cents today. Again, it's such a joke. It's up 62 cents. I mean, and gold's up $14. How is it up 62 cents? What a joke. But then they don't have any inventory, and people who want to buy it have to go to the mine to buy it. And the mine's got to be the stupidest player in this because they're sitting there letting it go for $27.79 instead of $200. So I smell the mafia involved and keeping the miners happy. That's the only thing that makes sense. Can the miners be this stupid? I'm sure they're paid off. So it reminds me of that Madoff thing on Netflix when the guy discovers Madoff's a Ponzi scheme, and he goes to the SEC to complain, and he can't understand. He keeps going, and they keep finding nothing wrong, and he's showing them, look, this guy's an idiot. It's because the SEC was paid off to not say anything to Madoff because they were getting paid off. And this guy's so stupid, he doesn't understand. Oh, why aren't they closing him? And then he says in the thing, oh, well, the Russian mafia was involved in part of the Ponzi scheme where they were with Madoff. And of course they were there. Who they think ran the thing? So it's just amazing. Whenever it's like this, the Russian mafia gets involved. And that's why it's such a stupid thing. We can't worry about COMEX. We're just letting it break, but when we do see these derivatives, it's the Russian mafias wanting to buy more. So it went down to 23.20. I guarantee you, Igor was there going, yeah, give us another 500 tons. Okay, you can let the price go back up to 23.40 20 minutes later. 23.42. But to me, the Russian mafia, if they got all this gold, why they don't want the price to go up. I guess they're still buying, but I don't think there's that much left. So they should want the price to go up also. I don't know anybody who's got a lot of gold who doesn't want the price to go up. So it doesn't make sense why they're still doing the freaking derivatives. But gold 3,500. So we'll meet in a few weeks. What do we do when gold hits 10,000? Where do we go? We go to Hawaii or something? I saw a scary video on Hawaii, on Maui, the big fire. In it, they showed the fire and they turned off the emergency alarms. Like when there's an Amber Alert, you get on your phone, there's an Amber Alert. And normally for emergencies, there's a hurricane, there's a tornado, it comes on your phone. They turned off the emergency for the fire. So how corrupt is this, right? So they turn off the emergency. So nobody knows there's a fire unless you happen to be looking at it. So if you're in making dinner for the kids, you don't even know there's this big fire because you're not getting this alert. And then they closed the roads. They put roadblocks up so you couldn't even drive out of the place unless you were smart enough to go around the roadblocks and say, screw you, I'm not going to sit here and get burnt. But a lot of people died and they couldn't get out. And it's something smells there pretty big. What the hell happened with burning all that thing on Maui? So I got to watch the rest of the video. I'll report it back tomorrow. But you always got to ask why. Why did 9/11 happen? Because of the gold. That's it. And then funny how the whole 110th floor was out on a personal day. They were told not to report. And then the building collapses. Yeah, that sounds normal. And the F-18s, yeah, they didn't fly. After the first one hit, what the hell? Why should we alert the F-18s? And the second one hit, like, really? Yeah, we're that stupid, huh? Just amazing. But that's the problem, and we don't. And you want to trust the government? Okay, go ahead, be my guest. Anyway, so I'm getting tired. I'll be on normal time tomorrow at like 2:30. I think I was on at 2:33 today. Greg and John was on. Kind of vampire. It's funny, we're talking about whatever, and he goes, "Oh, do you like Connecticut tonight?" And then he leaves, and you're just like, "Well, we're talking about gold, Greg and John," and he's talking about Connecticut. Oh, it's funny. He always misses the subject. Like, we're talking about girls, he'll bring up Connecticut. It's like, what the hell? Oh, it was a gold robbery. There was $2 billion worth of gold under building, I think 1 or 2, that they got away with. And you could see Brink's trucks go, carrying it out. And there was guys down there that if you tried to go there, they threatened to kill you. Like, don't come down here to this part, which is where the gold was. So it was totally a gold robbery. And Bush was in on it, and the rest of these idiots. And that's your government. They'll take the money and screw everybody over. It's what they do. But it was a total like Stardust. It was a total boom, boom, boom. This destruction. It was a detonation or whatever you call it. But it was totally that. It had nothing to do with terrorists. That was a joke. They wanted to have a war with bin Laden. So they blamed bin Laden for it. Who knows? And then sounds good. Okay, we'll have a war. And then they came out with the Patriot Act, which took a lot of our freedoms away. And you got to now, take off your pants to go on the airport, to go on the airplane, because there might be fluid, so you can't bring water on because it could be, full of whatever, like, well, just have us drink it. And if we take a drink, obviously there's nothing in the water. Take your shoes off. But, in Europe, a lot of places you don't have to. I think in Germany, when I went Berlin to Frankfurt home, and I don't think we took our pants or our shoes off, maybe the belt, but, take the metal out. But so I'm going to be curious when next time I go. Talk to Daria. I said, I want to buy the tickets already. So let's, second, third week of June. And she came back and said, well, I asked my mother, she said July 3rd, she's going to come in because it'll be July 4th. And since she's Russian, she doesn't give a shit about July 4th. So I said, okay, well, let's confirm it. And then I want to book the flight in May for July 4th. And there's some nice hotels, and it's a nice looking place, Belgrade. And then there's a sister city. I can't remember the name. That's real close to it. It's, the nice shopping, the nice restaurants, the nice hotels. There's a lot of bars there, but I'm not a bar person. And she can't draw. She's like not supposed to drink. So I don't know. I don't need to go to a bar. I don't dance. It's stupid. So we'll do that. But I'll try to get us a hotel with a pool. A lot of them have breakfast, and so it looks nice. And we'll go 8, 9, 10 days. Especially we'll see how high gold is. 23.43, 27.85. We're making our moves, boys. Why won't silver go up more than 68 cents? So anyway, so it looks like a go with Daria. The problem is she won't leave. The daughter can't stay alone. and that leaves. But she wants to be with me, go on a little vacation with me. Otherwise, I'd fly into St. Pete, and what good is that if she's going to see her daughter, and then we'll get a hotel in St. Pete, and then she'll probably run home all the time. So it's this way she'll be out. I know she's got her passport, so I'm like, she said she liked Belgrade. She liked Belgrade, but she was worried if she'll be okay being a Russian. Like, will they like me? I'm Russian. I said, don't wear a Russian shirt that says I'm Russian. Just shut up. I'll do the talking at the restaurants and the malls and wherever, in the hotel. Just shut up. I mean, when I'm with Jenna, she talks English. She'll talk Russian to her girlfriend, Natasha, but nobody cares. I mean, oh, you're Russian. Oh, you're causing the war. I mean, nobody, just don't wear a big Russian T-shirt and you'll be fine. August 2001. Hi, Christmas Eve. You're a new one. August 2001. Well, 9/11 was obviously September 2001. What happened in August 2001? That when they planned I know the guy who owned the building actually took out terrorist insurance for billions of dollars like 3 days before. And then surprise, surprise, terrorist hit, and he made all this money. And then there was a bunch of airline stocks that were shorted, and they all crushed because the terrorists ran the airplanes. And Larry Silverstein took out insurance. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's must be what I'm talking about. Yeah, it was like billions of dollars for the building, which could never have collapsed like that because they reinforced it for the wind. So at worst case, first of all, jet fuel could never bring the building down. Steel burns at 2,500 degrees, and jet fuel gets to like 800 or 900. So how the hell does 900 burn 2,500? It can't. Plus, there's these big metal rods that go all the way through the building, all 100 stories. And so if something did happen at the 102nd floor, it would only go down 2 or 3 floors. It would never have gone to the bottom unless they had demolition and you can see the white smoke knock the building down. And then I like how they lie about it. Oh no, it was fine. It was, no, not that. It was the terrorists. It was bin Laden. The airplanes flew into it, which could never have happened either, because Lear showed something that if the plane starts falling, that's it. It then drops. It doesn't go through the glass window, through the building, and catches on fire and burns all the steel. I mean, that's just like Mickey Mouse. That's a Disney story. That's not real. So, I mean, it's just a bunch of bullshit. And we're supposed to just, buy it. And if we don't buy it, then we're conspiracy theories. No, we're realists. We're going, that doesn't make sense. There's no fucking way the jet oil knocked down the building. It was clearly demolition, and you fucked all these people, except for the floor that it hit, who worked for Larry Silverstein, and they were all out on a personal holiday. They're all staff. Don't come in tomorrow. So on 9/10, they get a note. Don't come in 9/11. We're closed. Then the building goes down. Oh yeah, sure, okay. Well, he's closed the office on a Tuesday in September. But that's what we're dealing with the Ukraine. What do you think? We'll give $60 billion to Ukraine. You know how much money goes to Ukraine? What, $1 million? I mean, the rest goes right into the pockets of the politicians and some to the defense contractors. There is no weapons left. We've used them all out. Most of the weapons we gave to the Ukraine were obsolete anyway. So we have no army. We don't have any weapons at all. And we can't use Navy ships because of the satellites now. The Russians can kill us with their submarines because they'll know exactly where we're going and blow us up. So you can't use the Navy anymore. And it's pretty ridiculous. And we won't end the war. Putin does not want this war. He's trying to end it. Zelensky's too stupid, and he keeps taking money to keep the war going for some reason. Talking to Jenna now, she lives in the Ukraine. So A, martial law, which means the military run the country. B, there's brownouts, so she loses electricity for a certain amount of times because the Russians took out the power plants. C, there's curfews. So when she came back from Berlin, some guy drove her back, and she said we had to stop for curfews. I don't know what time, 8, 9, 10 o'clock. So what do you go into a dark house and you have to be inside? I mean, what is this? This is not 1940 or Hitler's not there. What's going on that you have all this shit? Because they're not attacking her city. They just want the Russian cities, Kharkov, Donetsk, the island, and Odessa. They don't want Lviv. They really don't want Kiev. So those are it. They're just trying to take the cities with the Russian people. So they don't. I said to Jenna, "Are you okay?" She says, "Yeah, they're 200 kilometers away. Once in a while, somebody sends a missile. I'm not sure if it's not BlackRock sending the missile. BlackRock wants to rebuild the country. What a schmuck! So let's kill everybody. They've killed 600,000 Ukrainians. Yeah, so and then millions have left. Her friend Natasha's in Germany, has free rent. Now, this is why Germany's bankrupt, but they have like free rent there. And then she's got to learn German. She's not working, but she gets money from the government. Welcome to socialism. It's crazy. And I was talking to her when I was there, and I was telling her about gold, and she wants to buy gold. She says, "I don't have any money." I says, "Well, I would have brought like a half ounce for you if I knew that." But I always like they understand gold there. All right, Germany for sure, but most of Europe understands gold much more than we do because of Hitler and everything else, and 1923. So believe me, they don't trust anybody there. So they are definitely gold people. Lucas, have to watch your freedom of speech these days. Yeah, I got a strike for saying something, and I'm just got to be a little more careful. Talking about 9/11, yes. Christmas Eve, we got to stop giving that little rat Zelensky billions. He doesn't get billions, but yeah, he's they're stealing kids. So if you listen to General or Colonel McGregor, they go around like the Gestapo, and they'll go into bars, and there's young kids in there. There's 14, 15-year-olds they throw in the army. These kids are surrendering to the Russians, and they're like, what the hell? They're like 14, 15-year-old peeing in their pants. They just said, don't kill me. And 75-year-old men. So I ain't going there. I'm not 75, but I'm not going anywhere near there. So poor Jenna, she won't come here because her family's there. Her family's so stubborn. They're sitting there in the middle of a freaking war. But what I don't get is she got her nails done today. She went to the dentist. She chipped a tooth. She went to the doctor because she has her fever, and they're testing her to figure out what's wrong. She can go to the grocery store. She can go to the gym. Like, are you in the middle of a war, or what kind of war is this that it's like she can do all this stuff? So I don't know. We got that. Yeah, I agree. Zelensky's a traitor, but aren't we all? David, hi David. How's everything going, Professor? I still watch this class, but haven't commented in a while since I often miss the lives. What time is your class usually on? Did you bet football with me, David? I'm kind of trying to figure you out, but on the weekends they're like 11:30. Saturday, Sunday would be 11:30, especially football. College football will be 10 to 1 because I want to talk about the games on Saturday, and they start at noon. Sunday is like I get on at 11 to 1 because kickoff's at 1. Now during the so I'll Saturday and Sunday with that. During the week, I'll do I go to the pool about 11ish to get my workout in, and then I come after. And if it's normal, I'm eating my lunch. I'll come on about 2:30. So I'll figure about 2:30 to about 5:30 every day. Pretty normal. But that's it. You still betting on football? Well, the people jumping out was not rigged, but the whole thing was rigged. The whole idea was a gold robbery. I mean, that's what it was. It was the diversion of the gold robbery, basically. I bet a lot of football, Illinois, and other sports. You type like Bobby. Bobby, help me out here. I bet a lot of football, Illinois, and other sports since in a while for fun, but I love football. Yeah. Yeah, football, we got it just dead figured out. Big year last year. So we got to learn the new draft quarterbacks, Caleb and Daniels and Penix and Bo Nix. We got to see what team they're on and how they're going to play and who their coach is. We got to give it a few weeks since there's no training camp. And then after about probably week 3, we have a good idea of if they're good or not. And then we go from there. But yeah, football is the sport. Baseball, it's so freaking boring. Basketball, it's so fair. Let's see if I won our Connecticut game. 23-45, Bobby, and 27-88 silver. 59-42. So we won Connecticut minus 6.5. And that's at 101. We got to 146. So I think it'll be under, which is what I want. Purdue, what a joke. Always a choker, never a bride. Yeah, so basically we just keep betting him. We found the diamond. We got Burrow. We got him. The Niners. We stay away from Hurts. We stay away from Lamar. Lamar is good against Miami, but not when they play a real team. Pittsburgh will be interesting with Russell Wilson. The Bears, Caleb's going to be a flop. So the Bears are going to suck. Green Bay should be good. Detroit, no defense. They still don't have a defense. And Minnesota needs a quarterback. So this will be interesting who they draft. Well, I'm under 146, and it's at 59-42, which is 101 with 7 minutes left. And Connecticut's probably going to dribble around, and Purdue will put up a bunch of threes. That won't make it. So, yeah, it's at 60. It's at 100. I got 40 points to give up, but because it's a blowout, they're not going to foul at the end. They're just going to dribble the ball around, and that'll be it. So it looks really good. Now we'll see what happens. But Christmas, if Burrow could stay healthy, he could have multiple Super Bowls like Mahomes. Love Burrow, and their coach is solid too. Well, and they got Chase. So yeah, I mean, well, it was a cheap shot at Baltimore. Hit his wrist. It was a real cheap. The guy kind of dove on it or whatever. It was like that Alabama cheap shot against Daniels when they hit him in the helmet and they didn't call a penalty because God forbid we can't call a penalty on Alabama. But yeah, Burrow's the man. I was looking at his rookie card today. It's a 50 count. I'll show you. And I just I think I talked myself out of buying it. But when you look at his stats, so if you look at his stats, look at the fucking touchdowns. 2019 LSU, 60 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Are you kidding me? He was 402 for 527, 76%, and he's throwing long for 5,600 yards. I mean, if that's exactly what you look for. Now, again, he had Chase and Jefferson on the team. I was watching the LSU Georgia game, both my teams, and it was just Chase was number one and Jefferson was number two, and Burrow just Chase touchdown for Jefferson. Chocolate Eclair was on the team. Moss Jr. was on the team. I'm surprised he didn't get picked up. He was pretty good. I'd love them to get Brock Bowers. I don't know. Seems like everybody wants offensive linemen for some reason, which is a waste in the first round. Yeah, I mean, he beat them. He owns Kansas City. He's like 3-1 against them. They should have won that playoff game with that cheap hit on Mahomes that should never have been called. Gave him the field. Otherwise, we go to overtime, and Burrow can certainly win that game. Mahomes had the hurt ankle. So I agree. And then losing to the Rams was like the last second, right? They had them, and then the Rams scored late to win it. So, yeah, I mean, they needed a little more defense, Cincinnati. And they got rid of Mixon, so they need a running back. But if they can get Brock Bowers with Chase and Burrow, forget about it. That's your Super Bowl. And just add a few defensive pieces. Yeah, he killed your boys out in Georgia that year. He killed everybody. And Georgia had they had the defense, but they had Jake Fromm. They didn't have Stenson Benson. And yeah, but I mean, Georgia made them uncomfortable, but they were just, then they, after seeing Burrow, then they won 2 titles in a row or something like that. But that team was just, Chase, Jefferson's over there. Chase is over here. Okay. I mean, what a joke with Burrow. I mean, you got all pro receivers in college. What a joke. That's why I hope they get Brock Bowers, but I don't know if he'll still be there. But maybe he could, or they could trade up for him. But that would be beautiful. You'd have problems there because he's better than Kelsey. So it's going to hurt Mahomes with if they can get the Brock man on the team. Anyway, yeah, it's a good. That's the difference, right? The quarterback. That's why here's Burrow and here's Lamar. I mean, are you kidding me? Here's Burrow and here's Drake May. Are you kidding me? And here's Burrow and here's J.J. McCarthy. The only one that can nobody can handle Burrow this year, right? Or Mahomes. Nobody's in that class. Penix and Daniels are close, and Bo Nix. And I think Hartman's still, if Hartman's still around late, he's a steal. But who in their right mind would draft Drake May and J.J. McCarthy? And yet I see him as like the 3rd and 4th quarterback taken. And it's like, look, Caleb's not going to be good. Caleb cries. Caleb scrambles around too much. This is the NFL. He's not going to be able to scramble like he did in college. It's not going to happen. And by the way, how many good wins did he have? Lost to Notre Dame, lost to Oregon, lost to Washington, lost to UCLA. Joe Burrow won every game that year, didn't he? So I'm not sold on Caleb at all. You would be much better. You watch the Washington Texas game, and you watch the Washington Oregon both games. He's the man. I mean, the way he's so on target. And then Daniels, beautiful. He improved. He wasn't that good the year before throwing it. He wasn't that good at Arizona State. But the last year he was outstanding. He found his accuracy. That's what Brian Kelly did, because I was surprised he was the starter. But yeah, Daniels and Penix and Bo Nix. Bo Nix goes in the second Washington game. He was like 28 out of 29 and 4 touchdowns in the second half. So that was surprising, but Penix just owned them. But yeah, that was those three are head and shoulders above everybody else. Again, Caleb didn't beat anybody. Now, they didn't have a defense, but what happened in that Notre Dame game? Oh, yeah, he didn't show up. Yeah, okay. But my man Hartman showed up, didn't he? Although they had a few defensive touchdowns. But the college is so fucked up with this NIL. I don't even know what to do. These players switch teams like it's a joke, like switching restaurants. I don't. You're getting free education, room and board, but we got to pay him $1 million, which I don't know if that's real or not. You paid Uglia Buglia money, and he's now on Florida State, Bobby. You're gonna roll over. He's on Florida State, and Cam Ward's on Miami, and Van Dyke is on Wisconsin. Are you kidding me? And then our boy Jefferson, your favorite quarterback, is on UCF now. So why would you leave Arkansas? He goes to UCF. All right. I don't know who Oklahoma's quarterback. I think they got a Texas quarterback, Oklahoma. But it's crazy. I like Daniels and Penix a lot, but I think Bo Nix is going to end up somewhere in Rock's league with. Oh, Bo Nix is better than you're giving him credit for. Fuck Oregon. They scored 45 points a game. He had 45 touchdowns and 3 picks. What are you watching? You can't blame him because he lost to Penix. And that was it. They lost the 2 games to Penix. He beat everybody else. He killed your primetime team 44-6 over Colorado. I don't know, Bobby. I think he'll be fine. I think I think Caleb's the pretender, and I think Hartman's a steal. If you can get him after 10 or 15, he's a freaking steal. Hartman's very good. They just ran the ball more than anything else. So that's just bad offensive coordinator. Didn't know what to do, and they ran the ball a lot. That's not Hartman's fault. For real, I guess UCF is going to badly suck. Yeah, well, there goes your boy KJ Jefferson, although I like him. He might do better at UCF. But if you go into the stats, say I go into the college stats, and it has them at their new team. So you see that. So you see him on the new team. That's where I'm getting Uglia Buglia on Florida State. Their poor quarterback. I can't remember his name right now. I don't think that guy I don't know if he can walk. His foot was turned around. It was the grossest thing I've ever seen since Mackenzie Milton at UCF. And that's terrible. He was a good quarterback. I checked on Missouri's quarterback. He's not in the draft this year. He's staying at Missouri. Cook. They got a great running back. So does I think our boy from Oak State transferred also, Ali Gordon. I think he's on somebody else now, which just that this is the problem with college football. What do you do? Why the hell is Chip Kelly now the offensive coordinator at Ohio State? How do you go from coaching UCLA to being the offensive coordinator at Ohio State? And Carl Duran, who's never coached before, is now the coach at UCLA. Are you kidding me? This guy has, does he even know how to coach? You're UCLA, and you get a guy who used to be a running back for you, who's never coached. I mean, it's like the Lions. They keep getting coaches that have never coached before. Unbelievable. I like Harlan, but lost faith in him after the Louisville game. Oh, Hartman. Hartman's, well, see, I won a lot of money when he was at Wake Forest. He was one of my over guys, so I know what he's like. Van Dyke. Van Dyke was great. He's had shitty offensive coordinators. So you don't know what he is, but I know he's very good, at least when he came in. Gus Malzahn got that system. What are we talking about? Which Gus Malzahn's where? UCF, I think. Is that what you're saying? But only really worked great with that kid, Nick Marshall. I like Marshall and made Auburn exciting football. Well, they almost beat my Florida State team in the championship game. I had all my bets on it, a couple thousand on Florida State -1, closing off all my teasers, and had to sweat that one. When I went it with 10 seconds left, he hit the guy in the end zone. But yeah, that's really yeah. He's a good coach, but you got to have the right players. Well, we lost Christmas Eve. He retracted a bunch of stuff. Why do you guys retract your comments? You don't need to. Anyway, just a second. I will be right back. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, Chris. I've always retracted on social media after my point has been made and the subject has been moved on, especially when talking government issues. It's just habit because we constantly. Yeah, that's fine. I was just curious. Whatever you're comfortable doing. I just was hoping it wasn't anything I did or said, but yeah, that's what I like doing it live is to get the comments in. But I understand, so no problem. Anyway, talking. So college football is really fucked because all these players moving around, and you got to have cohesion. So it's very tough. Like even Hartman going to Notre Dame, he was great at Wake Forest, and then he switches offenses and offensive coordinators, and they want to run the ball more. They have a lousy offensive coordinator at Notre Dame. He's moved on. So now you got a new quarterback. Well, you got to get it's got to be adhesive now, and they got to work together in the offense. So all this changing around and new coaches and all this money issue, all these players go to another team so they can get more money. Why are they paying the guys in the first place? I thought it was supposed to be like for the jersey. Oh, you bought a whatchamacallit, you bought a Charles Woodson jersey, so give the guy $5 or whatever. That was the whole bitch. The bobbleheads and the jerseys, they weren't getting money for. Now it's $1 million to sign Uglia Buglia from Oak State. What is that? I don't get it. And all these players are jumping around. It's just teaching them that if you don't work hard, just if you get beat out by somebody else, just go transfer to a place where you can start. Believe me, if you're any good, you'd start, and if you're not, you're gone. And so go transfer to another. So where do these Ohio State guys go to? Tennessee Tech. We couldn't start at Ohio State. So it's just crazy, but it makes picking the games much harder because you don't know what you got for, like I said, 3-4 weeks. So that's what I usually do. I wait about the first 3 weeks. I get an idea. I stick with the guys I know. And, even Michigan this year, Harbaugh's at San Diego. So I'm going to have to I have an idea what he did at San Francisco, and he should have a good defense there. I don't like that he let Keenan Allen and Williams go. They don't have a receiver now. What are they going to do? So he'll probably draft some Michigan guys, knowing him. So it was like Sean Payton last year. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't expect him to get rid of Russell Wilson. How is he going to do on Pittsburgh, Russell Wilson? Fields will never see the field. But he was nothing, these Ohio State guys and the Alabama guys, they're nothing because it's the system offense that they run. It's got nothing to do. They're not good quarterbacks, only in college, but not in the pros. But that's my thing with Caleb. I don't think Oklahoma's system's never been good. Jalen Hurts, yeah, he looked really good at the end of last season. Let lose 7 in a row, and they get killed by Tampa in the playoffs. Kyler Murray's okay. I think he's all right. And Mayfield was, he's nothing. Who am I missing there? I think those 3. Spencer Rattler, they're talking about drafting that guy. What are you kidding me? He's terrible. What are you watching that now? Spencer Rattler's on the board, but you're not talking about Hartman and Bo Nix. I mean, it's insane. CJ Stroud is the exception, although let's see, he has a sophomore jinx like RG3 did. I'm not a big CJ Stroud fan because I watched him twice against Michigan and he never showed up. And, against Georgia was a fluke because he doesn't run. And then Georgia's playing man on man and they're going down the field covering Marvin Harrison and Ibaka. And then he starts running against a 4-man rush, which Georgia normally blitzes 7 and kills everybody, right? That's what they did to Hooker, right? The Tennessee game, they rushed 6, 7 guys. Hooker would go back to pass, and he was sacked. But they didn't do that against C.J. Stroud because they knew he didn't run, and so he ran. So they kind of caught him off guard. There was some injuries on Georgia. Against LSU, they gave up like 40 points. They scored 60 themselves. So it was a little bit of a fluke. But let's look at the Michigan game, and he doesn't show up either Michigan game. So I don't know. He's the exception. Again, watch the Baltimore game. They lost 37-3. They got a touchdown on a punt return. So where was he there? All he does is roll out to the right. I mean, and then he hopes the receiver cuts across the field. They're all playground plays. They're not regular plays. And when he got in against Baltimore and they were able to take that sideline throw away, he didn't do anything. So I'm not agreeing on C.J. Stroud because he is an Ohio State quarterback. I don't see him that he's that good. I know the Houston people like him, but you're playing what, Jacksonville and Indy and Tennessee. That's 6-year games. So I'm not. He went to Carolina and lost to Steve Young. That's how bad he is. You lose 16-14 to Steve Young at Carolina. Carolina won 2 games, and you go there and lose. That's my point. And I look at it like, if you got money on it, do you want to trust C.J. Stroud or Burrow and Mahomes? Who do you want to trust? Even Brock Purdy, I'd rather have than C.J. Stroud. Brock Purdy goes back in the pocket and he hits these guys, boom, 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 right over the middle. The tight end, or Deebo Samuel, McCaffrey. He throws good passes, but I don't see that out of Lamar, and I don't see it out of C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud takes the ball, runs to the sidelines, and then hopes the receiver's breaking open somewhere. It's all playground. And you don't win with that. So, Houston, you're used to Davis Mills. So I get that. But he's being way inflated. It's like Lamar. Everybody loves Lamar except for me. I don't see the big deal about Lamar. But I see the big deal about Mahomes and Burrow. That's the difference. So I don't know. I don't see where that is coming from on C.J. Stroud. Yeah, you took a last place team. You won 7 or 8 games. Okay. And then what did they win a playoff game and then they lose to Baltimore? I don't remember. I think they beat a crappy Cleveland team in the playoffs. But I don't know. They're trying to get everything for him like he needs receivers in the playoffs. Let's see. Houston won 45-14 against Cleveland, and then ran into Baltimore 34-10 on a punt return, so it's 34-3. So yeah, they put up a big number against Cleveland. I don't know if it was the Joe Flacco play. Did the offense or defense score? This I don't know, but we will see. But anyway. So that's what we learned. He wasn't ready to play last year. Is he ready to play this year? I think they got him a receiver. But the guy out of Jacksonville, Ridley, I don't think he's that good. These Alabama receivers get way overrated, except for Julio Jones. But then he sat out 5 years with the pulled hamstring. But most of them aren't really that good. They're fast. And in college it works, but not in the pros. So I don't see much from them. Anyway, anything else? I think I am. Let's see if we get the final score here. $75-60. Connecticut was by 15. 135 is under the 146. So there we go. a double winner. I like the under more and 135. And notice Purdue, they kept Connecticut down to 75 points. So that's about what it is. Connecticut wins, which no surprise, and the under. I like the under more because I knew they wouldn't score a lot because the big men would face each other, so they wouldn't have that dominant play. And then Connecticut would win because they were just a better team, better coached, I think. So there you go. Now, is Connecticut the national champ? And my answer is no, because it wasn't a playoff. They won a tournament. So they are tournament winners. They're not number one unless you have a playoff, and they needed to play Purdue 2 out of 3, 2 games in Connecticut, 1 game in Purdue. Then if you win that, then I would say you're the champ. But I would have had them play Houston and North Carolina and Duke, and all these teams should be like 16 teams in the playoffs, like in the NBA. And you play 2 out of 3, and then you can I can tell you they're the champions. But here they just won a tournament. Luke, nothing like Big Ben making a play out of nothing. Yeah, Big Ben was great. See, that was another fluke because he was out of Miami of Ohio. I remember watching him. He played at Michigan, and I was at the game. My dentist would always give me tickets to the never to the Big Ten games, but it would be like to the MAC teams. And he was nothing special in college. Pittsburgh gold standard like Bob Bonilla in the 90s. There you go. Yeah, I mean, they've always had good defense. But even Bradshaw, I mean, watching some of the Bradshaw games, that Oakland game, the second one for the second Super Bowl, played in Pittsburgh in the ice. I mean, he had 8 turnovers in the game. Jesus Christ, with that defense, just hand the ball off and that's it. Get out of the way. Let Franco Harris do it. I guess they had a new angle on the Franco Harris play, and there's no doubt in my mind that Jack Tatum hit the ball. I mean, that even if Francis Fuqua hit it, then Jack Tatum had to hit it. Otherwise, how did the ball go backwards, right? So that was really not a big deal. And then he takes the ball. The way he's running, there's no way it's hitting the ground. He would have hesitated. And if the ref who's sitting there 5 feet away can't see, then just let it go. I don't really like this instant replay. I prefer like that play. Could you imagine instant replaying the immaculate reception and the ball is touching the ground and you're going to call it incomplete? Are you kidding me? After that play, you're going to call it incomplete because the ball touched the ground when Franco had it, and or try to get that Jack Tatum didn't touch the ball when that was obvious because the ball ricocheted. But could you imagine instant replay in that play? Franco, yeah, the ball did touch the ground, so it's incomplete. The refs would not have made it out of the stadium alive. But that's what I don't like about it. I like that the play happened. It was a touchdown. You got excited, and that was it. But I don't like they take all the emotion out of it. The guy scores, and then we got to watch instant replay for 15 minutes so they can run commercials to see if it's really a touchdown or not. Did the fucking ref call it a touchdown? Yeah. Then what's the problem with it? It's a touchdown. The ref's sitting. Then why do you have the refs out there if they can't see from 3 feet away that the guy's foot was in or not, or the guy caught it? And these catches are ridiculous. Just, did the guy catch the ball? Why does he have to survive the ground? He's caught the ball. He's taken 2 steps. Then he trips and he loses the ball on the ground. Oh, it's incomplete. No, he caught the ball. What? The whole thing's getting ridiculous. And I love how they use it as socialists, like, well, we got to get the call right. I mean, it's got to be fair for everybody. No, you got a ref. Let him call it. If the ref calls it a touchdown, it's a touchdown. Stop fucking around with it. And then what are they doing with these kickoffs? So you're going to kick the ball off. You can't fair catch it. The guy has to return it, but nobody can run. And what, until he starts returning it? So you're going to kick it real high to land at the 2-yard line. and then he's going to start running, and he'll get out to the 25, and it'll be the same crap you got now. I don't. Why do they fuck around with it? It's like going to girls softball in the baseball. If they go to extra innings, they start with the guy on second base. What is that? You don't. That's girls softball, not Major League Baseball. You don't give somebody second base; they got to earn it, right? You get a double, you get on second. You don't just stand on second. We got to speed the game up. Why? The game's a good game. You don't need to speed it up. If it's a good movie, do you care? Lord of the Rings was 3 hours? No, you want it to be 4 hours. If it's a shitty movie, yeah. But I mean, so if it's a good game, why do I need to speed the game up? Why do I need a pitch clock? What the hell are you doing? Well, we got to compete with kids playing video games. You don't got kids going to the game anyway. You've screwed them up. You don't have a Mickey Mantle, so nobody cares about the games anyway. That's my big thing. At least football, you got Burrow and Mahomes. Okay, I'll watch them. Baseball, you got nobody. This Shati Otanu, did he get thrown out of the league for gambling yet? Or are they still trying to figure out what the interpreter's saying? Like they can't get their own interpreter and have him talk to this guy. What a joke that is. So the guy's got $40 million and he's betting on baseball? Where's he betting basketball? Maybe he's betting the tournament. What a joke that is. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it a night. It's late. This is the second show I've done, but I won't delete this one. I don't think I crossed any lines. It's hysterical, but I do believe, I do agree with you, Christmas Eve, about the social media. I'm not on Facebook. The only social media I'm on is this, which I'm not sure social media, and WhatsApp, where I can talk to my girls in Europe. That's it. Twitter I very rarely use, and Facebook I'm totally off. But now I understand it. What these idiots are doing, this Zuckerberg guy, he's selling your information. What kind of business model is this? Well, we're going to get everybody on the site, and then we're going to sell their information without telling them. And we're going to sell it to advertisers and the government, and everybody will know what they do, what they like, and we're going to track them. And this is how we'll make our money. Who thinks of this as a business model? Oh my God, this guy should be shot and then killed. What, are you kidding me? What kind of business is that? Yeah, we'll sell people's information without telling them. Oh my God. So that's why I'm off of Facebook. WhatsApp, I'm not sure how it is, but for advertising, I don't have. The only thing I got is my trip to Serbia. So, and if I meet Jenna in Europe somewhere, but I just go on bookings and I go on Cheapo Air and I make my things and I don't pay attention to any other crap. But yeah, that's this whole social media is just terrible. It's way out of control, and they don't do anything about this kind of crap. I don't know if it's illegal. It's immoral, but it's not illegal. He better hope he never runs into me at an airport. He won't survive that. What a loser, this Zucker. I'll be glad when they all go broke because the money goes to zero. And all this guy's money is all in stock anyway. So when the stock market crashes, he'll be worth nothing. And off he goes. All these guys, I can't wait till they lose all their money because they don't buy gold, because they don't understand it. How can Warren Buffett not understand gold? What is the guy, freaking idiot? I know he's just a salesman. He's a insurance salesman, and he happened to get some money in or some Ponzi scheme or something. But anyway, yeah, I'm rumbling from topic to topic. Anyway, I think I'm going to go to bed. It's late, and I got to ice my foot. Anyway, I'll see you about 2:30ish tomorrow too, depending when I get up and get out and get to the pool. And I'm not going to have lunch. I don't think I'm going to eat tomorrow. Well, I got a little salmon left, so I might eat dinner. I didn't even eat all my salmon. Anyway, I think that's about it. All right, everybody. Have a good night. www.teaserking.com. Let's do our last gold check. At 11:44, gold is at 23.44, up 16 for the day. A little late rally at the end here, and then silver's 27.80. So we should see silver in the mid 28s tomorrow, and gold could be touching 2,400 tomorrow. Because we've had the derivatives, which I don't think they'll do tomorrow, which took it down from 23.43 all the way down to 23. So it was a $20 derivative, which immediately came back. So they lost their ass on it. So I think we'll see a much higher gold and silver. I think they'll move a lot. So 2,400 gold and then silver at 28 and change, maybe on its way to 30. Good point, Professor. All about fake shit. Yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a nice night. Thanks for stopping in. Nice chat. Have a good day tomorrow. Buy your gold and silver as much as you can. Again, May 14th, BRICS goes gold. And at that point, I don't know that you can buy anymore because A, is there going to be anything to buy? And B, the price is going to be so expensive. Silver, are they going to back the money by silver also or just gold? But silver still moves with gold, so wouldn't worry too much about it. But we'll be seeing $50 silver soon. Just give it time. But it broke 26. You can see it's moving 70 cents a day, so take a while. All right, everybody. Have a nice night. www.teaserking.com. All right. Thank you very much.